2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the new morning show on CBS Sports Radio. Got a barn burner tonight, Perloff. Jags and Saints. When these two teams meet, throw away the record books.
And the total is 40. We might get a 12-8 football game.
Yeah, this one might not be pretty from an offensive standpoint, but there is one part of this game that is very, very interesting. And that is this sort of thoughts on Trevor Lawrence and where he stands amongst the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Make no mistake about it. Trevor Lawrence is an elite quarterback in this league. He is a top 5 quarterback in this league. He is the real deal. Now, you just want to go strictly on the stats for this year. You'd be like, oh, Maggie, I don't know. He's more like top 10, 7, 8, 9, whatever. Trevor Lawrence is actually doing something that he's not getting any credit for, Perloff, which is he is tied for last place with the amount of time he has to throw a football so far this season. He's got 2 seconds. That's it. 2 seconds. He's tied with Joe Burrow. These guys have no time to get the ball out. He's taken a few more sacks this year, but every time I see Trevor Lawrence, I'm continually impressed with what he's able to do. If he's not an elite quarterback in this league, I don't know what one is.
Wait, so this 2 second stat, does that mean he's releasing the ball in 2 seconds or he has 2 seconds of pressure? Because maybe he's just
2 seconds of pressure.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I quite see that. I'd like to see who, if the NFL collected that. Was that a PFF stat?
That is a ProFootballReference.com stat.
Yeah. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence, so your definition of elite seems pretty liberal here. I mean, who's
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think your guy, Josh Allen, is barely elite, and Trevor Lawrence is not there yet. First of all, he's so young. He might be there in 2 or 3 years, but you're seeing something that you want to see here because he is not there yet.
Okay, so I think most people, maybe not you, but most people do think that Josh Allen is an elite quarterback.
Yeah, he's elite, but barely.
They generally talk about Josh Allen as an elite quarterback. MVP odds would reflect that. Other
Totally.
things. Okay.
And guess what? Trevor Lawrence is not Josh Allen.
Okay. However, let's throw away Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. In fact, let's throw away everybody's rookie year. Trevor Lawrence's was particularly bad, though, because of Urban Meyer. It was a mess in Jacksonville. I think everyone deserves he deserves a pass there. So let's just go with games 18 through 40. So that's the first game of his second year. And I didn't count the playoffs here, but he was very good, obviously, in the comeback win over the Chargers. But games 18 through 40. Okay, so from the first game of his second year and all the games this year. If I do the same thing with Josh Allen's games 18 through 40, the numbers are almost identical. Like the track that Trevor Lawrence is on.
The track that he's on
Right. Shows you that if you're going to say that Josh Allen is an elite player, then Trevor Lawrence is the elite player.
So you're saying he's going to be an elite player? He's on a track to be an elite player? Or you're saying he's there right now?
He's there right now. Right now.
I think that you took your thesis coming into the year that Trevor Lawrence was going to be elite and decided that he's elite because the numbers are just not there this year. We expected a statistical explosion. We expected a Mahomesian-like season, and it's kind of been the opposite, especially if you only contained it to the Jags' American games. He was great in London, but that's a total cheat code over there.
Well, listen, they play the games wherever. You know the NFL. At some point, they'll be playing on the moon just to try to get the intergalaxy audience to tune in.
He's elite in the Premier League. He's not elite in the NFL right now. The numbers just prove it very, very obviously that there's no way he's like top 5 quarterback today.
Do you think that Jalen Hurts is elite?
Well,
yes,
that's more complicated.
Yes, you do. I know that you do. Not just because you're an Eagles fan. I know that you think he's a good quarterback. And Jalen Hurts' numbers are down. Do you think Joe Burrow is elite?
Oh, 100%.
Joe Burrow's numbers are all down.
Yeah.
If you just take the snapshot of where we are right now with the numbers, I can make a case that Joe Burrow is not elite, that Jalen Hurts is not elite, and I would have to put Jared Goff and Tua. And,
But here's the thing, though. Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow have been to a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence has not.
He's only in his third year. He's younger than those guys.
Right, but you're assuming that he's going to be there, and we don't know that. I mean, listen, the numbers are pedestrian this year. He's obviously he's 11th in passer rating, 15th in QBR, the ESPN QBR stat, which is actually a really good stat, 91.7 rating. It's been a ho-hum offense. If he was going to be elite, you got to be like Josh Allen throwing 40 touchdowns or Patrick Mahomes just dominating. He's really good. So to be elite, you have to be so good that you could just take this team on your shoulders and win every game. Honestly, the strength of the Jaguars are right now defense and Travis Etienne.
Said, okay, but I'm not going to take things away from Trevor Lawrence because they happen to have a strong run game. Because on the moments and in the downs that really matter, which is third down, he is elite on third down.
Well, first of all season, he was struggling earlier in the year. I read that last night. He was terrible on third down until the last couple of weeks.
He's cleaned it up the last 3 games. We're 6 games into the season, so I've seen more good than bad.
Yeah,
the
he's
overall
a very
numbers,
good quarterback. He's very good, but elite means I can just take this team and just go on a playoff run where I'm going to throw 3 touchdowns a game. That's what you need to be elite.
Okay, so in the playoffs, he's orchestrating one of the biggest comebacks
over the Chargers
in playoff history. Okay, but whatever, you play who you play.
That's like me beating my daughter in one-on-one basketball.
Not true. And then in a 1-score game with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah,
in Kansas City.
Yeah, a backdoor cover of a 1-score game that cost me, by the way.
That was a good showing from Trevor Lawrence in that game. So no, he hasn't been to a Super Bowl. But if we're only using Super Bowl as the metric, then Lamar's not elite, Josh Allen's not elite, Tua's not elite. Jared Goff did make a Super Bowl, but that was with a different team. If that's going to be the bar, then I can everyone except for Burrow and Mahomes and Jalen Hurts
and Stafford, by the way.
You think Stafford's elite this year?
No.
Okay.
Stafford was elite. So I honestly think, first of all, people don't realize how young Trevor Lawrence is.
Extremely young.
He's one of the youngest quarterbacks. I was looking at the guy. Here's some guys who are older than him. Kenny Pickett's a year and a half older than him. Zach Wilson's older than him. Desmond Ritter's older than him. Jordan Love's older than him. Tua's almost 2 years older than him. Mac Jones. He's a kid.
Yeah.
He will. I agree with you. He will be there, but to assume that he's there already, I think is a big leap with this team. And honestly, the numbers are not going to get better for him because he already hurt his knee and he's about to face this gauntlet of defenses. His schedule gets really tough. He's going to have a good year. So the test will be in the playoffs. But let's be honest, he's going to get a higher seed than he deserves because he's in the AFC South. And what happens to the AFC South once they get into the playoffs? They never get anywhere. They
won a game last year.
They won a game last year, but how many times is it
and then went up against the Chiefs?
When's the last time an AFC South team made the Super Bowl?
Well, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago.
Okay, well, give it a second. I mean,
Give it a
first of
second.
all,
They always
okay,
get that. They always get a high seed because they dominate the terrible AFC South teams and just never get it past the divisional
Okay,
round.
but again, if you're only going to say making the Super Bowl is the sign that you're elite, then you got to take Lamar off your list. You got to take Josh Allen off your list, and I don't think you want to remove those guys.
I think Josh Allen's going to be there quicker than Trevor Lawrence. I think Josh Allen, I mean, listen, okay, this is probably not fair, but that 13 seconds game, that was the best team in the league that year, your team.
Yes.
That was an elite season, and just the way he played in those playoffs was unbelievable.
Yep.
So I got to see that from Trevor Lawrence. I think we will at some point. I just watched this Jaguars team, and it seems kind of tough to do that right now. They don't seem like explosive, kind of like I expected. Maybe it'll get there, but they have all these really tonight is a tough defense. Cleveland coming up, San Francisco. I just don't see this as like the explosive offense I kind of wanted from Trevor Lawrence this year.
I'm going to take a page from your book on this one, which is you think sometimes that teams play with their food a little bit. Yeah. You know, the guys, we don't see their max effort because guys aren't trying or they think they have the game won or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there is part of the Jags that looked at the rest of the division, and maybe Houston is changing some things now because Stroud looks good, but I think they looked at the division and said, we got a little time to figure this out.
Yeah, maybe.
We can figure this out. The defense is great. I'm super impressed by it. And on offense, we've got time because they should win this division. They should win it easily. Anthony Richardson's now gone for the Indianapolis Colts. Mentioned Stroud, but he's still a rookie. And Tennessee is better off tanking than they would be actually winning games. And we got the report yesterday that Derrick Henry's on the trade block. So Tennessee could be waving the white flag. I think that the Jags believe they have a little time to get where they need to go offensively, and that's why the Lawrence numbers are not on par right now with, Mahomes or whatever.
It feels like a big projection to me. I mean, he obviously had a showdown with the Chiefs earlier in the season, didn't even get to double digits in Jacksonville. Is that elite? Like, did that look like an elite quarterback to you? I know that it was all red zone problems, but I just have not seen this sort of, and I'm maybe defining elite different. Like, he's not been the explosive quarterback that we wanted. Probably not his fault. You're right. It's also a function of the running game being awesome this year. But I just, elite. I'm thinking Mahomes in the Super Bowl year. I'm thinking actually like Tua is playing elite football right now. I just don't see Trevor Lawrence do that. He's very, very good. There is no doubt about that. But elite, not yet. And I think he'll be there in 3 years or maybe 2 years or maybe even sooner. I'm not there yet. I understand what you're saying. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, you're right. It's the AFC South.
Yeah.
All I have to do is show up to half these games because I don't think the Colts are dead. Anthony Richardson's gone. The Titans are dead. So, as you mentioned, so it's really them and the Texans. Is that it?
That's about it.
So they're going to do the old AFC South thing, like the Titans getting the number one seed, where they're going to come in with this gaudy record, and it is not going to translate in the playoffs. Telling you right now.
855-212-4CBS. Okay, so let's turn our attention to tonight, which is Jags Saints. This is in New Orleans. This is how you know the NFL has a problem with the turf versus the grass, is the fact that one, in my opinion, elite quarterback in Trevor Lawrence may not play tonight. And part of the reason is because of the turf at the Superdome.
Yeah.
Like, that has to be a wild red flag here for the league. Anyway,
I heard the reason, by the way.
Yeah.
I did not know this. You might have already known this, and maybe everyone does. The reason they don't go to grass is because they want to transform their field into a concert venue immediately, and you can't do that with grass. Is that the worst reason of all time?
Yeah, I guess we only get 8 home games, so now, or sometimes 9, I guess, these days, but so you got to make money some other way.
Right, so MetLife with Taylor Swift, like they wanted to quickly, what they do is they take a cement roller over the turf so the Taylor Swift fans don't ruin the field. But isn't that the most pathetic reason you've ever heard in your life? So that you could have Taylor Swift come to these stadiums. It's really Taylor Swift's fault.
Yeah. I always think it's funny, though, with the baseball stadiums, they don't do that. They cover the mound a little bit, but they'll let, people do concerts like right on the field. And I'm always like... But
probably not grass fields. I'll bet you it's artificial turf.
Well, it's funny. I'm like, so the Grateful Dead's coming? Yeah. And you're just going to let all these deadheads, like, what... You're just going to let them dance around, like, right on the field? Peaceful group, but, like, who knows what they're smoking?
I'll bet you if you look at it, they don't do that on grass fields. Probably.
Maybe not. 855-212.
Pathetic. I mean, you're exactly right. The fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to play tonight, like, somebody's got to do something about this, Maggie. You have power. Come on, jump in there.
Do I have power? Do I have any more power than anyone else? Probably not. Let's hear from Lawrence. Cut number 1, please, Pete, on he's being cautious about his knee.
how much do you push? I think a little bit is good, and so that line is always kind of moving, though. It depends on how you're trying to do everything you can to obviously to play, but then you don't want to hurt yourself worse, all those things. And I feel good with where I'm at right now, so we're just kind of taking it day by day and seeing how it gets better.
Listen, if I were the Jags, I would sit him. This is a game against a very ferocious defense. I know you don't want to back down from anybody, but Saints, the best thing about the Saints is their defense. Yeah. And I guess Chris Olave, but he's hurt. And you don't want to risk it in a game that is probably going to mean close to nothing for your season.
At a conference. By the way, Trevor Lawrence, electric in press conferences. Man, just to hear that voice crackle.
Come on,
guess what? She's going to take it day by day. Thank you. Yeah, Saints, the one thing they do well is get after the quarterback. This is going to be I hate to poo-poo Amazon's game here, but this could be a terrible game.
It's all right. Amazon knows.
Yeah.
They've had plenty
Al
of terrible
knows. Poor
games.
Al Michaels.
Yeah, they understand.
Poor Al Michaels.
$1 billion just doesn't buy what he used to buy.
Yeah, and then you bring up a great point. If he's wearing a knee brace and he doesn't have mobility, because he's a pretty mobile guy.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the
running a lot this year.
Yeah, it's one of the strengths of his game. That's the other reason I feel like if we're going to judge, is he top 5? I don't think he's going to end this year at top 5 and anywhere near in any stat, because he's not going to be able to run. So you're taking that weapon away. I don't know about what is a knee sprain, by the way. Like, how do we know he didn't secretly tear his meniscus? I kind of feel like that's what might have happened.
855-212-4CBS. Yeah, I think a sprain, listen, I'm no doctor, is inherently a little tear.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why I would not play this guy. And if we're just going to forecast out a little bit, let's see.
Yeah, by the way, he's got the Niners coming up, so I would definitely. When are you going to put him back in?
Well, that's the question, right? So after tonight's game, you get at Pittsburgh. That's next week. Then
at least that's grass.
Then your bye week.
Okay,
so,
good.
Why not sit him? I mean, listen, Pittsburgh, that's a little bit different story, but I would sit him tonight. Maybe you play against Pittsburgh, maybe you don't, and then you got your bye, and then San Francisco.
Maybe sit him for San Francisco. No. Bring him back against the Titans. You don't want him out there. If he's got any kind of knee brace and Nick Bosa's hunting him down, nah. Just play him against the AFC South team, cruise in the playoffs, you're fine.
Carlos sitting in the big chair today. Carlos, how about this for a poll question? Is Trevor Lawrence elite? 855-212-4CBS. You can vote at Maggie and Pearl on the tweets. We've got a TikTok, Maggie and Perloff, which we were born for. Facebook.com/Maggie and Perloff. Instagram, Maggie and Perloff. Lots of ways to get in touch with us. Also, YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where the weirdos and the coffee drinkers hang out. Come on in, say hello to everybody, and you can interact with us in the YouTube chat. Okay, coming up, we got a pretty fun story for you, pretty crazy story for you, and it's going to make everyone in the studio feel awful. Just kidding. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. I was very busy last night. I was on a scouting mission for my Philadelphia Phillies. I'm not jinxing anything because they're not in the World Series yet, but I kind of studied the Rangers and the Astros playing last night, saw some of their tendencies, how you approach that lineup, just in case the Phillies advance to the World Series. I'm ready for either team, Maggie.
You're going to share this information like with
my text, with
Phillies
my
brass?
with my Philly sports text thread, which is
I'm sure they're going to love
relentless.
to hear your analysis of Jose Altuve's good.
Well, I did text to my buddy. I'm like, ooh, I think we can get to Scherzer.
Yeah.
I could get to Scherzer.
I think that's going to be a slam dunk. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4CBS. We're asking the question, is Trevor Lawrence an elite quarterback? Dustin is in Sacramento. Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. Trevor Lawrence is not elite yet.
Why not yet? If you think he's going to be, why not now?
If the game's on the line, big time game, all the lights are shining the brightest, do I have faith that he can make the drive happen? Can he win the game? And more times than not, I was like, yeah, possibly, but it's not. I don't think almost sure thing.
Wait a minute. He did this in the playoffs. He did this in the playoffs after a terrible first half against the Chargers. He did lead them back. They won 31-30, and he was the reason.
That was great. I agree, but that was one time.
Okay.
Like, doing something one time doesn't mean it's like
Beating the
it's gonna
Chargers in a
happen all
wild
the
card
time.
game makes you a Hall of Famer? What are you talking about?
Hold
It's the
on.
Chargers.
Guys, he's also hasn't been in the league. This is his third season. We see.
I
Here's the thing
love
about
Trevor
Trevor.
Lawrence.
No, but here's the thing about Trevor, and this happens sometimes with guys. I think of his pedigree. Trevor Lawrence, if you are a big football fan, even if you're a casual football fan, he's been in our life for a really long time because he started as a true freshman at Clemson, played in multiple national championship games. He was like a 5-star coming out of high school. So it feels like Trevor Lawrence has been around forever when this is year 3 in the NFL. He's a baby.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think it's going to take year 5. I think year 5 is the maximum time it's going to take for him to be one of those guys where you know you're playing him and you know you've got a dogfight on your hand. He's going to be up there in the Mahomes, the Joe Burrows conversation like, oh, we got to play that guy this week. We got a fight on our hands.
Yeah. Dustin, thank you so much for the call and
Yeah.
appreciate you checking in.
That's a great measurement of elite. Oh, we got to play that guy. And I agree. I think Trevor Lawrence easily could be there. He's obviously incredibly talented, but he's not oh man, pencil the calendar. Trevor Lawrence is coming up. I have a thought question for you.
Yeah.
What if you switch places? You put Trevor Lawrence with the Chargers and Justin Herbert with Doug Peterson and that expensive wide receiver room and Travis Etienne in Jacksonville?
I think that they would not lost that game if you had Trevor Lawrence was on the Chargers.
I think it's a function of the coaching much more than the quarterbacks. I think Justin Herbert would eat up the AFC South.
With Calvin Ridley and
No, I just think if he had Doug Peterson, honestly, if you just switch coaches, I think that Justin Herbert would take that team a little farther, just because he's a little more mature right now than Trevor Lawrence is.
Well, I don't want to go down a Justin Herbert rabbit hole because I feel like we did a lot of that after the Cowboys game. But Kellen Moore was the architect of one of the highest scoring and one of the most prolific offenses in the league. Now he's got a better quarterback than he did with Dak Prescott.
Right.
And what are we seeing?
Same thing, empty numbers. I mean, Herbert's numbers are great, just like the Cowboys were. Kellen Moore isn't winning anything. If anything, it's been a huge dent to Kellen Moore this year that, once again, they're in the same situation where their offense moves the ball, but they don't seem to be able to manage a win.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, on the big level, like Brandon Staley sucks as a coach. We know that.
Yeah.
Or not sucks as a coach, but he's been super disappointing. Like, he's a defensive guy, and his defense is not good. End-of-game situations, you don't trust him at all that. But as far as Justin Herbert with a competent offensive coordinator, he certainly has one.
Yeah.
It's not Kellen Moore's fault that he threw an interception at the end of that game and lost the game to the Cowboys.
I think we see this differently. I think Trevor Lawrence would be stuck with Brandon Staley, just like Justin Herbert. I think Herbert would be great with Doug Peterson. They're both great quarterbacks.
If I asked you today, who would you take now to quarterback your team for now to the end of time? Would you take Lawrence or Herbert?
Wow, that's a tough one.
I know my answer.
I would say this year I would take Herbert.
No, I'm saying now to the end of time.
I'd probably go Trevor.
So would I, and there you go.
Well, yeah, but no, that's not the debate was not who's going to have the better career. The debate is Trevor Lawrence an elite quarterback right now? Is 24? He turned 24 2 weeks ago.
He's still so young.
He's still so young. So is he elite right now? And listen, it will decide in the playoffs because the Jags are clearly going there. But at the end of the season, he's going to be ranked like 14th among quarterbacks. He's just not going to put up the numbers, and there's a reason he's not that guy yet.
So we have this really cool job where we get to watch sports for a living and talk sports for a living. But Perloff, I think there's somebody out there that even has us topped.
Really? I feel like I have the best job. What do you got?
It's a woman named Nancy Mello. She's in her early 40s. She lives in Connecticut. She is a full-time animal communicator. This lady's got it figured out, y'all. She's doing this full-time. She's got 400 5-star reviews on Google. She's got thousands of TikTok and Instagram followers, and she helps people communicate with their pets. Now, to her credit, she's found a lot of pets. Like, she's found like over 100 lost pets, missing pets.
How?
So, because she's communicating with the pet world,
Well, how does she
figuring out where they are.
Wolf.
So she's asking other dogs where the other dogs are? Because if the dog is lost, how's she communicating with a lost dog? Anyway.
I think that she's just in tune with the animal community. Anyway, so finding... she's like Dr. Dolittle.
She's working the neighborhood to see where Lassie went? Okay.
So finding a lost pet, I mean, that's great. That's awesome. But the other stuff that she's proclaiming here, I think this woman's got an all-time major racket going, and I'm almost like in awe of it. So 57%. Who owns pets in here? You guys? 1, 2.
I mean,
No.
does a tortoise count?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Hermes definitely counts. 57% of pet parents describe their connection with their pets as emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. But only 4% of pet owners say they know for sure what their pet is thinking or feeling. So that's where she comes in. She answers the question, is my pet happy? And I bet she's charging an arm and a leg for this. I bet this chick's making 6 figures, if not and I bet it's a comfortable 6 figures. So if you want to know if your dog loves you, and this is why she's got a better job than us, if they cuddle with you. Yeah.
So
Did that take whatever this was, $150 an hour?
How much do I owe you?
Yeah. Who should I make the check out to? And if your cat can be standoffish, but if they rub up against you, put their tail around you, then they like you.
see, I could do this job too because 100% of dogs love you. Have you ever met a dog who didn't love their owner? And 100% of cats secretly hate you.
Yeah.
Because if cats were, my theory on cats, if they were much bigger, they would try to attack you and eat you.
Yeah.
They're basically little lions walking around your house.
I'm not a cat person, but here's the other thing that she says because she's communicating with animals. She says that they don't like it when you sing to them. It's a rough spot for a lot of people. And also, don't call them fat. If you fat shame your pet, apparently they know this. I didn't know that pets spoke English or whatever language you're speaking to your pet, but she said she's heard it so many times. Don't call me fat.
Guess I shouldn't sing to my tortoise anymore.
Yeah, you're secretly
Your fat
torturing
tortoise.
him. Yeah. Don't fat shame your tortoise and don't sing to your tortoise.
You're so fat.
Yeah. Your
Don't
tortoise is actually thinking, shut up and give me some lettuce.
You loser.
You ever seen The Onion does those articles where they write from the viewpoint of an animal? It's just like, all it is feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I know.
And also, too, by the way, don't animals love being fat? I thought a fat cat is a happy cat, right? Isn't that the expression? He's a fat cat.
I think maybe they've just been scrolling on TikTok, these pets, and now they're feeling like a little body shamed. I don't know. It's the year 2023.
I thought that they hated wearing sweaters and things in public. I always thought dogs looked embarrassed. Yeah, they don't want to. They want the shoes for warmth, probably, but they see other dogs. They're like, hide. I don't want to see see this poodle coming along, me wearing these shoes and a sweater.
I always do feel a little bad for the dogs, and the cats in Halloween parades.
Yeah, it's not
This
good.
cat doesn't want to wear a tutu.
So if you, Maggie, you don't have a dog, right?
I do. I grew up with a dog. I don't have one now.
Would you be a little dog person? Like you see people walking around New York City, or would you be a big dog person?
So the dog I had growing up was 60 pounds. So it's a bigger dog.
Yeah, see, I have a small apartment, so I would probably have to do a smaller dog, but I do not like small dogs.
I can't imagine you walking around with one in your bag, like Paris Hilton style.
A little stroller.
Yeah.
No, that's
The worst.
the worst.
My next door neighbor has 2 chihuahuas that
Oh,
are
boy.
so cute. Not chihuahuas. What is that? The animal that's like a little puffball.
Pomeranians?
He has 2 Pomeranians. They are cute, I admit, but they yap all night long.
Well, I think the dog stroller is. I mean, unless the dog's physically
They have a
hurt.
dog stroller.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, another mom at the park. It's like, nope, that's a dog in there.
Yeah.
No, the Pomeranians love it. They love being the stroller.
they do.
How do
peek
you
out
know?
Because I hired the animal psycho. No, you can just tell.
For $300, Perloff was able to find out they like the stroller.
Would you guys like to go around the neighborhood in a stroller?
Men's strollers for adults. I mean, obviously, it's like a wheelchair. I'm not talking about people who need it. I'm talking about people
Yeah.
who choose it.
Yeah, you're like an ancient Egyptian queen going around there, like carrying me on my.
To the mailbox, peasant.
Yeah,
Just give me a gurney. That's fine. Put me right on the gurney.
Wheel your
yeah, we
ass
can
around.
carry Bilotti around on our shoulders.
Walk around.
Just clear the way on the streets of New York. You on a gurney going on the.
Maybe that's our get rich idea. Strollers for adults.
Big stretchers rolling around.
People would also get out of the way because they think something was wrong.
Not in New York.
Yeah, actually, that doesn't even make anyone bad in Iowa.
No.
They push it.
Could you do the board from a laying down?
I probably could.
All right.
Not to pat myself on the back, but yeah.
I'm kind of surprised you haven't tried that yet. It's pretty early. Anyway, Bogusch is here with headlines. Good morning, Bogusch.
Good morning, guys. Some will blame the shoulder issue and or the layoff between starts, but Mets fans know this was happening last night no matter what.
Scherzer delivers. And that is hit sharply past Youngkin in the left field. Tucker scores. Dubon around third coming home. He will score as well. Maldonado racing for second. The throw in the second, the slide. Maldonado was out, but the 2 runs count.
Robert Ford on Astros radio.
That's
Three
right.
other runs counted against Scherzer. 5 total over 4 innings in his first start in a month.
What a shame.
He was on the mound for Game 3 of the ALCS, and he thinks it went well.
In these situations, look, there's some badness. I get it. But, that's where you kind of got to tune out and look at the good. What was I able to do well? Look, I made some mistakes. I get it. I got punished for it. But there were some good things I also did as well.
No one has found those good things yet.
That sounds like that was a clip from spring training.
Yeah.
Not the ALCS.
Yeah.
That's a level of delusion that I wish existed with myself.
Right. What good things could you have? I mean, I guess the first inning went well, and then the next 3 didn't.
Yes, you're a shoo-in Hall of Famer, so let's go with the first inning went well.
Uh-oh, I'm feeling those angry Met vibes floating around the studio, whatever.
I'm just ticked off that I didn't bet this game. I'm so dumb. I let this one slip through the cracks because you're right. We all knew that he was going to bleep the bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was guaranteed. His Rangers losing at home 8-5. Their lead on the Astros is now 2-1. Houston improved to 7-1 in that ballpark this season. Maldonado and Yordan Alvarez each drove in 2. Game 4 is at 7 Central this evening after the D-backs host Game 3 of the NLCS. Oops, they did it again.
6 seconds left. Stewart with 5. Draws the double. Laney to the corner. Vandersloot. No! And that is it! An unforgettable finish to Game 4.
That's Ryan Rucco on ESPN. The Las Vegas Aces winning Game 4 in New York, 70-69 to win their second straight WNBA title. It's the first time in 21 seasons the team has repeated. Asia Wilson, the series MVP, after 24 points and 16 boards. Brianna Stewart had just 10 points, 3 of 17 shooting for the Liberty.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. In that highlight,
Yeah.
so the buzzer goes off.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes wild, right? You heard that? The crowd noise was like huge.
Yeah.
This game was in New York.
Yes.
The Aces, the Las Vegas won.
Yes.
Why was the crowd that happy?
I don't know if the crowd...
If the home team just got swept.
Those Aces fans travel.
By the way,
like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Yes.
I feel bad about asking this. Why is that game in Brooklyn? Is it
That's
all,
where they
Liberty play.
That's where they play.
they play in Brooklyn? I should have known that. It's 15 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years now, yeah.
What happened to the Garden?
The Garden sold them.
Sold them.
Oh, okay.
They're still the Liberty, but they're owned by the Nets owner now.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Knicks sold them to the Nets.
Yes.
Kinda.
And they're
yeah.
really good now. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I should go to a game.
It's too late. Season's
Season
over.
Knicks fans everywhere
Try
wishing
again
Dolan could
next
sell
year.
them.
We'll see you next year.
Hey, was Tom Brady at the game? We were
He
wondering
was
that.
not, but Mark Davis was there looking dopey as always.
Oh, we just were playing his dance. I mean, that guy is lucked into a situation. Like we were saying, I mean,
You can say it. It
yeah,
was
it's
funny.
like a character for Dumb and Dumber owns a bunch of teams.
Yeah.
now.
Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah. The Samsonite
I'm
fortune
sorry,
got
the
him.
town is back that way. But why were people
The
cheering
dance is
so much?
amazing. I got to give him credit. He's living his best life out there, dancing in the middle of the team. He is enjoying it. I'm disappointed Brady was not there.
I mean, where's his commitment?
Yeah, because I like seeing awkward Tom Brady dancing too. What if they made him dance? That would have been wonderful.
Oh, like at a carnival from that
Yeah,
that clip
that's
from
why-
several years
repeat
ago.
That. But is this? I said, oh my gosh, Tom Brady won another title. Maggie quickly corrected me that the Aces were the defending champion coming in. This is not Tom Brady's
No,
doing.
Prof goes, what if everything Tom Brady touches
Yeah.
turns to gold? I'm
What
like,
if-
well, they won last year, so.
He owns a soccer team too, right? What if that team wins everything? Then you're going to notice a trend, Maggie.
Well, he bought Barcelona, so no, I'm just kidding. I don't know who he bought. But,
He bought a team actually that's not even in the Premier League yet. Like they're the level below, so they got a way to go. And he's not even the owner.
He bought the 6th-round pick of Premier League teams, if you know what I mean.
I think that Tom Brady was probably at a speaking engagement for some company that paid him $100,000.
Last night? Yeah. He
Maybe
owns,
not. Maybe not.
He
He
owns
was just home.
Birmingham City FC.
Yeah.
fear Birmingham City. They are really tough. They play with a lot of heart.
Sure they do.
Yeah, a lot of scrappy veterans and young,
so
and young
have
players.
An Alabama team in the Premier League, but this team, they travel.
Right, we complain about London
issue.
games.
Yeah.
We're making soccer team come to Alabama.
The jet lag is a major issue, but they have a lot of heart here.
Crazy rivalry with LSU.
Can't Nick Saban be there? Come on. Get some support.
Trevor Lawrence is the main injury concern ahead of Thursday Night Football in New Orleans, but those Saints will not have their starting tackles for this one. Both Ryan Ramczyk and James Hurst are out. Deshaun Watson says there is still no timetable for his return from that sprained rotator cuff. He has already missed 2 Browns games and did not practice yesterday. Neither did Jimmy Garoppolo, but Josh McDaniels had no other update on his QB's back injury. James Harden, not at Sixers practice yesterday. I want to have sympathy for new head coach Nick Nurse, but he knew what he was signing up for.
If he's here, we go, and if he's not here, we go, right? We got work to do.
The last reports of the Sixers and Clippers were still far apart in trade talks. On the court last night, Victor Wembanyama, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks in 21 minutes in the Spurs' 117-103 preseason win over the Rockets.
Victor Wembanyama.
And just 2 games on ice last night. Ottawa blitzed Washington 6-1. The Red Wings topped the Penguins 6-3. And as far as I can tell, all announcers sadly behaved themselves. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bogusch. We will get some more sexually suggestive hockey highlights. It's the season's just started.
Yeah, only 2 games to pick from, limited options.
Why was Victor Wembanyama playing a high school team last night? Or was that a junior high team? What is it, these little men that are trying to cover him? It looked like, are these real NBA players? Because he looks like he's towering over every single player on the court.
Well, that's what happens when you're 7'5". But I was asking people on social media last night to start sending you podcast recommendations, new bands maybe to listen to, because your road trip to San Antonio, when you lose this Victor Wembanyama bet, it's getting real.
For Rookie of the Year. Yeah. I have one out here, though. He has to get to 65 games to be eligible for the award. Is that the number?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm counting on. I don't want him to get hurt. I think Popovich might rest him a little bit. I mean, Popovich famously rests his stars. That's my only hope. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah, Perloff, this is the bet. Perloff said if Wembanyama wins Rookie of the Year, he will drive to San Antonio, hold up a sign apologizing to Wemby.
In French,
walk up and down the Riverwalk and just capitulate yourself to Victor Wembanyama and all of his glory. And it's what did we say? It was a 16-hour drive?
No, 28-hour drive.
28-hour drive. So,
and since I'm always hungry in the morning, I'm thinking there's a great breakfast taco place I love in San Antonio. So I'm actually excited about this whole thing.
You realize, by the time you actually get there, are you going to be as enthusiastic about the tacos?
I have no problem with long drives. I could jump in a car right now outside this building and drive to San Antonio, easy peasy.
Well,
so if I'm on this trip with you, because I volunteered, you have not accepted my invitation yet, but I have to do this with you, you're going to drive the entire time?
Easily.
Oh, all right, even better.
That's not for some big gulps, huh?
Maybe Mark Davis will be there.
Yeah.
Whoa, but wait, no, continually. Did you say continually?
No, you're just going to drive the entire time? You don't need me to step in and...
Nope.
Okay.
I don't even like, I don't like being a passenger in a car either. I'd rather drive. If I could fly the plane that I'm on, I would do that too. I'm much more comfortable driving.
It's just everyone else would be
just not my plane.
Fearing for their lives. I'm glad you'd feel better. I like it. I like you guys as a road trip comedy.
I don't want Bogusch coming with me.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't know. I have all these friends to see. I'm just like,
I'm gonna crave your style.
Wow,
well, I'm just
on the road.
Not a good.
I don't know. I'm like, this is a week-long vacation where I'm gonna stay with this buddy and that buddy. I mean, Bogusch, I love you, but I see you every day.
It's true. Well, who's going to document the trip, though? Someone's got to be there for social media videos, and I got to live tweet the drive.
So you want to go to San Antonio?
I want to go in general. I prefer to go in a more efficient way, like flying, not on a plane.
I got you with the breakfast tacos, didn't I?
That was already on my mind, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, the whole crew should go because this place is so good. I don't even remember what it's called. It's amazing.
Oh, great. And as a general idea of where it might be, this is what's going to happen with this breakfast taco thing. I hate to say, you've seen the movie Vacation.
Yeah.
You guys are going to drive this whole way, get there. It's like, we've been closed for 2 weeks to renovations. Moose outside.
Taco Bell instead.
Oh,
This is your destiny.
that would be amazing.
Anyway, we'll get more details, but this trip looks like it's going to be happening.
One thing about the bet, you keep saying I'm going to walk along the Riverwalk. When was that part of the deal?
Oh, I thought that's how you had to say.
I was just to try and find Wemby, like he's going to hang out on the touristy Riverwalk.
Yeah, I don't know. Where else are you going to be? In front of the stadium?
I'm going to be on a bridge holding a sign, hoping that he goes by in a little boat.
Oh, yeah, that sounds way better than the river.
And it's going to say in French, "Je suis désolé," because I took 1 year of French in high school, and that means I am sorry.
I'm going to have to take your word for it. 855-212-4CBS. No French. 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, one NFL team that is, a massive decision to make, and it's going to happen soon. We'll tell you what we think next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. Sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. We are just so excited tonight to see a 17-12 Saints-Jags game. It is electric in the studio. Maggie, what you're wearing, this is sort of a teal. Is this Jags blue?
No, you can't hold my outfits against me anymore, or not holding against me. You can't read into them because I'm now getting dressed in the dark. So I have no idea what I'm wearing. It's like, oh, I'm wearing a blue sweater today. That's news to me.
They're not football team related. So no. That's not Buffalo Bills blue or Jags.
No.
I think it is close to a Jags color right there.
But don't you find that now with this new schedule, it's like, just the fact that you can get out the door, get a shower and out the door, it's like I pat myself on the back.
Get a shower?
Yeah, you got to shower. Are you not showering before the show?
Not every day, no. I shower at night. Because one thing is I wake up my wife, so she's like, can you shower at night? Unless she has to get up early. The other thing is
you don't find you're groggy a little bit if you don't shower?
So, no, I sometimes I'll splash my face. I'll be honest here. I'll splash my face with water, and then I'll pour water on my head and towel dry it. And that wakes me up.
You pour water in your head like you're about to start the fourth quarter? Well,
like, I have bedhead, so I got to pour water on it to sort of like get it to reset.
Yeah.
Should I not admit this? Is that gross?
No, it's not gross at all. I mean, it's just, it's just an office.
It's a little gross. It's a bit.
It's a bit gross.
Here's the funny thing. We get here, and it's so early. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. But when we leave, it's 10 a.m. and the place is hopping and buzzing, and everyone's like started their day.
Yeah.
So,
but the other thing, you have to put your outfit out the night before. I even did that before. I'm always a big put your outfit out because otherwise you don't want that.
Men did that.
I mean, outfit is. You're right. A man should not say the word outfit. But yeah, first of all, my clothes are right next to where my wife sleeps. So if I don't do that, I'm going to be like rummaging through looking for socks, and she would hate that. You guys don't put your outfits out at night?
I did that last night. I do it every night.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends.
If you're wearing your tuxedo today.
Bellotti, you don't sleep, though.
Yeah, it depends what's going on. If my tasks at night have gone late, I'll usually fall asleep.
Yeah.
If I have time to like breathe, like if I have 12 minutes to breathe, then I will lay out the clothes.
By the way, you secretly have the hardest life here by far.
It's not even close.
Yeah, what you're going through, oh boy.
Two kids under the age of what, 3?
3.
That's the hardest thing to do.
T's and P's.
Yes, right.
It's rough.
Quickly, a lot of Dino Ranch.
Yeah, at least they'll watch something. Quickly, Kyler Murray was back at the Arizona Cardinals yesterday, and it looks not only him but Budda Baker. But let's stay on Murray for a second. So Murray tore his ACL in mid-December of last year. Now he gets back. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I am not getting Kyler Murray out on the field. Look at what's going on. I know the Cardinals have been this team that's kind of scrappy team, that has kept games close. But look at what's happened over the last couple of weeks. It wasn't close against San Francisco. It wasn't close against Cincinnati. And it wasn't close against the LA Rams. This has been trending in the direction of, I think, where the Cardinals, for the long term, would be happy it went to. You have a shot at the number 1 overall pick to reset this whole thing with Caleb Williams. You cannot afford to have Murray back on the field. He could accidentally win you some games, Perloff, and I still think Murray is tradable this offseason.
Yeah, I think it's more complicated than that because I don't think he's tradable. I think he has this gigantic contract, so they might be stuck with him. And I don't know how many more games he wins for them anyway because his strength is scrambling, obviously. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that coming off the injury. I think they're going to want to see him. They're going to want to see what they have because they might be stuck with this asset. You can't just sort of put him to the side. And I mean, there's a very good chance he's too expensive coming off an injury that no team wants him. So he's there in Arizona next year. But you're not just going to cut him.
Let's hear from Jonathan Gannon, the Arizona Cardinals head coach, on Murray.
Very curious, but I know the work that he's put in. The people that have helped him get to this point, you can't praise enough the whole medical staff, all that, the performance staff, the doctors, all that stuff. But, he hasn't taken a snap in this offense either. So, we got to see him do a lot of things, but I know he's excited to get out there and start playing some football.
Listen, that doesn't sound like a guy who's really enthusiastic and can't wait to see Kyler Murray. This is like, he's like, big inhale, big exhale. Maybe I'm reading too much into that clip, but I think that no matter the pain in the short term, if you get that number 1 overall pick, and to be honest, even the 2nd overall pick, 1 or 2, then I've got to reset this thing, and I will do whatever I need to do to move Kyler Murray.
I think they're doing a different calculus where they're saying, first of all, even if we do tank, we might not get the number 1 pick because it looks like Carolina's really bad. It looks like there's a couple teams, Chicago, if Justin Fields is hurt. So they might not get the number 1. There's pressure to win. I mean, Monty Ossenford, the GM, and Jonathan Gannon, it's easy for us to say you should tank for the long term, but I don't think you want to go 2-15. That gives a lot of bad vibes. And I'm someone who loved the process in Philadelphia.
Who is under more pressure on Saturday? Ryan Day of Ohio State or James Franklin of Penn State? We'll get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left her off the ballot. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Big game in college football. Pretty good slate, actually, this weekend. But Penn State and Ohio State, Perloff is front and center. And I think heading into this game, which is in Columbus, Ohio, there is more pressure on Ryan Day in this game than there is James Franklin. First of all, Ohio State is expected to win this game, right? At home. And that in and of itself puts on pressure. Also, if for some reason Ohio State were to lose this game, then you're going into the Michigan game, which is already a heated rival, and that is an absolute must-win just to keep your college football playoff hopes alive. And so Day, who appears to be like, I don't want to say embattled with the fan base. This is something I don't understand. I know that it hasn't been banner against Michigan, but he has been a very good coach. This team looks a little vulnerable, but beating Penn State, I think, would go a long way in kind of solidifying, hey, you know, Ryan Day knows what he's doing here. But I do think that there is more pressure on him than James Franklin.
I totally disagree because Ryan Day is going to have the same situation every year. Beat Michigan or you're in big trouble. Get to the Final Four, you're in big trouble. James Franklin, how long have we been waiting? I mean, this has got to be it. He's been building Penn State, and now they're a top 10 team. They have a future top 10 pick at quarterback. Everything's in place. This is finally the time that he beats Ohio State. You know, he's 1-8 against Ohio State. Since he's been at Penn State, he won last in 16. This is his chance. It's a small spread. Ohio State's offense is not Ohio State's offense.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Penn State's offense is not much better. But this is the Nittany Lion team that is loaded up. If James Franklin doesn't win this game, like, what are we talking about here with James Franklin?
Okay.
See, where are you going with Penn State? How are you going to win a title if not with this team?
Okay, but you're going on the road, and you actually have a chance to make up for this if you're James Franklin later on in the season when Michigan comes to Happy Valley. So you do have another shot to try to...
So does Ohio State.
No, I know, but losing this game at home for Ryan Day, considering he hasn't been able to beat Michigan yet, I think would be tough.
Yeah.
Whereas there's this other sort of makeup that's looming that for James Franklin that they get at home.
But it feels like the Penn State-Ohio State thing is a lot more personal for Penn State. Like they've had these games that they should have won. Last year, they completely blew it again. So I feel like Ohio State is Penn State's nemesis. It feels like that. To me, this is a real test for James Franklin and the Nittany Lions. Like, they got to get over Ohio State. Michigan's a different animal. I mean, they are probably they could be winning the title this year. But for me, you got to take advantage of when Ohio State is down, and this is your chance. Get in there.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you ever think James Franklin would be fired as the head coach of Penn State, barring nothing, just based on football and coaching? Do you think he'd ever be fired, or do you think that the school feels lucky to have him?
I think he'd be fired. I think they've raised the bar at Penn State.
I think he's so entrenched there that he would call the shots. Like, I think James Franklin would be more likely to leave for a different program. Penn State's an awesome program. That's a dream job. But I think he'd be more likely to leave than Penn State would show him the door. I think the opposite might be true for Ryan Day, right? Like, there is a chance that Ryan Day might want to go to the NFL. Who knows? But, like, it's hard to tell what's real around Ryan Day because his record is so stellar, but he does have the 2 losses to Michigan. It's like, would he really be in jeopardy? The way you hear Buckeye fans talk, it's like, the pressure from the outside would just be huge, and it could force Ohio State to make the decision, not the coach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Ryan Day is such a good coach, too, offensively. This is a down year. They basically pass on to a new quarterback who's not elite. Doesn't he get a pass for that? I like Kyle McCord, actually, but it feels like you get a pass when you go put a quarterback into every draft in the top 15.
I'm with you. That's where you and I are going to agree. I think Ryan Day has more pressure in this game, but overall, I don't understand like the sort of backlash, whether it's a small vocal minority or whether it's really how the fan base feels. I mean,
but if look at Penn State. If Penn State doesn't make a run this year, then when?
But are they going to be? Who would they get that's better than James Franklin to be the coach in Happy Valley?
Plenty of guys. I think the expectations in the NIL era, first of all, they'll be lucky because they'll go to 12. But I think in the NIL era that they are thinking, this isn't Joe Paterno stayed there for 40 years because he won national titles. Like, Penn State hasn't even sniffed the playoff in a long time. I think this is the year, especially with Ohio State down. This game is huge for them because when have they had is there anything that scares you on Ohio State's offense? Ohio State can't run. They have one great player on offense, but they can't get the ball to him, and Marvin Harrison. This is a bizarre Buckeye team. Penn State's got to go in there and beat them up this time.
I think it's actually the key to this matchup is really Penn State's offense against Ohio State's defense, right? Because Penn State is, a little more dink and dunk, a little chipping their way down the field. The numbers are still gaudy in terms of the final scores, but the offense is not explosive. And I think that's probably by design. They want to play this sort of ball control, let our defense win these games type of thing. And if you're the Ohio State defense, like, how do you, really stomp it out?
But Ohio State's kind of the same way. That's why I was talking, the total's 45 for this game. What kind of Ohio State-Penn State game has a 4? They scored 78 points last year in their game. This is bizarre. I mean, honestly, you're looking at Ohio State. This is an unbelievable Ohio State defense. It's bizarre how quickly they turned it. All the NFL guys are almost on defense now. So I think this is going to be such a physical game and such a low-scoring game. And it's going to be cloudy in Columbus. It's going to be kind of like Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes type football, which to me as a college football fan is completely disappointing, by the way. I want to see Ohio State score 50 points and throw it all over the field, and Penn State with their big quarterback. So I guess the question is, this is like a physical, grinded out game. Like, which coach is tougher? Is it who gets the team? I don't want to be like cliche, like it's a movie or something, but whose pregame speech gets the team more fired up to win this physical battle?
I mean, for that part of it, I think it's a draw. Like, I think they both have this in them. Like the Ryan Day, I mean, I don't know who he's going to call out after this if they end up winning.
He'll find someone.
He called out Lou Holtz. I'm like, he's going to call out, Bill O'Brien, like the former Penn State coaches. I don't know. Ryan Day seems to have found, he's playing up the external noise. And I think James Franklin is going to do the same thing. We want to hear from you. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Who is feeling more pressure heading into this game? Is it James Franklin of Penn State? Is it Ryan Day of Ohio State? Yes. So that is our poll question, perhaps. Maybe like that as a poll question too, Carlos. Do you like that? Okay, cool. The other thing about Ryan Day, right? We've talked about whether he gets some criticism because he did some winning with Urban Meyer's recruits, right? I was thinking about that a little bit because time has a funny way of just sort of passing, and you don't realize now that Urban Meyer left in 2018.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I would say from 2021, you would have to say that's basically all Ryan Day's guys. And in that span, he's 28-4.
Yeah.
They won the Rose Bowl, and they lost to Georgia, the eventual two-time national champion, by a point in the college football playoff. Like, I think Ryan Day is a good coach, and I think that Ohio State would be, and the fans would. This is like a grass is always greener thing. You know, you can't just let the Michigan thing get in the way and cloud what is a really good coach.
Yeah, but I still think probably the best team he had was mostly Urban's team, where Justin Fields almost was. Remember when Justin Fields gutted out the Final Four, and I think they beat Clemson, and he was hurt. That was just a stacked team. Where last year's team, they probably shouldn't have even been in the Final Four. I mean, they played nobody, lost to Michigan, and snuck in there.
They beat Notre Dame early in the season.
I mean, that Notre Dame was like what 9-4.
Who did Michigan play?
Yeah, I was surprised they kind of like had no one better to put in. So they were like, okay, Ohio State, you didn't look good against Michigan, but here you go. And then they played well. But they haven't been an Urban team. The fact that they can't run the ball this year, to me, that was like, ooh, Urban Meyer, you could say whatever you want. He always had a run game. So I don't know quite what's going on with this offense. And Marvin Harrison Jr., I hope they throw it to him every time. He is so exciting. I can't remember a college wide receiver who was this good. 6'4", just catches everything, but they just don't know how to move the ball. I'm very disappointed. I'm a big Ohio State offense fan.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Day, I like to see them throw it everywhere. Remember when they had quarterback after quarterback and wide receiver after wide receiver? Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, all these guys, and they don't look like that anymore.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So again, you can go to @Maggie and Pearl. That's on Twitter, X, whatever. And that's where you can vote who was under more pressure on Saturday, Ryan Day or James Franklin. I'm going to ask for something on the fly here, Carlos. Do we have the audio from yesterday? From the appearance I did on Rochester Radio?
Yes, we do.
We do have that audio. Okay, great. So while you're mulling the James Franklin, Ryan Day question that we have out there, who's under more pressure? I wanted to surprise Perloff with something. So yesterday I was a guest on the Sports Bar Show, which is on The Fan in Rochester, New York.
Nice.
Yes, it was great. An awesome time talking about the Buffalo Bills and talking about Rochester, which is a place that's kind of near and dear to me because my husband is from there.
Awesome.
Right. So we get to talking, and they are asking us
after 9 minutes of Bills conversation, I'm sure.
12 minutes of Bills.
Okay, 12 minutes of Bills conversation.
I could have done an hour on the Bills. But anyway, we started talking about what our new morning show is like. And they were asking, like, hey, so what do you guys bring to the morning show? Like, what do you want to tell the audience about who you are? And I said, well, clearly we're people who don't take ourselves too seriously. And the evidence we have of that is Perloff lost a bet to me in the first week of the show. He had to eat a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands.
Yeah.
They called that disturbing. I said, you should have been in the room with him. It was twice as disturbing just sitting next to you.
You should have been me. That was disturbing too.
It was hard all the way around. So they said, well, since you guys like show bets, they came up with a show bet for us.
Ooh, okay.
Let's hear it.
And Maggie, if we're workshopping bet ideas, I mean, maybe if it's a Bills-related bet, you get Perloff to go hands-free on a garbage plate. What do you think?
Oh, guys, that's inspired. I wonder if he knows what a garbage plate is.
Nope. Time to introduce it to the world. Time to introduce it to the world.
You know what's funny? So my co-host is a big Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Yep.
So maybe I'm circling November 26th.
Ooh.
Bills at the Link.
Okay. Does anyone here know what a garbage plate is?
I do not.
I heard of it, but I don't know what it's made out of.
Pete?
Yeah, same.
Okay, so that's a big resounding no. A garbage plate is a local Rochester thing. I've never seen this anywhere else.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Okay, so essentially what it is you get your choice. It can be like hamburger, cheeseburger. It could be hot dogs, which they call red or white hots, okay? And it could be Italian sausage. It could have chicken, and it's served on top of a combination of like macaroni salad, baked beans, French fries, or like home fries.
Okay.
And it's really famous in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like hangover food. You know, this is not light fare. So you get this whole combination of all these different things on one plate. They call it the garbage plate.
Okay, give me the ingredients again.
Okay, so you get a lot of choices here.
Yeah.
A lot of people do hot dogs,
Yes,
like hots.
love hot dogs.
Okay, or Italian sausage.
Love sausage.
You can do cheeseburger, hamburger.
Love cheeseburgers, hamburgers.
Okay, and then or chicken, I guess, and then you serve that on top of a combination of like French fries, baked beans, macaroni salad.
And
like macaroni salad is the one thing that has to be on it.
okay, that's actually, it's funny. That's the one thing I don't love out of that whole list of ingredients. Macaroni salad. I like, if you're at a barbecue and there's macaroni salad, like that's the last thing I go to.
Oh, you're so wrong. I love mac salad. So here's like a picture of it. It just, it's like 2 meals in one on one plate. I'm actually surprised that in a TikTok, Instagram world, this has not become a much more popular thing.
It looks really good.
Yeah, and then, you can also do any kind of toppings you want in terms of condiments. Like you put some ketchup on it, you can put mustard on it, you can put onions on it.
This feels like my buddy Casey Webb, Man versus Food kind of food.
He would know this.
Yeah, he probably has been to Rochester and done this.
Yeah. So there you go.
I'm totally in. I love mashups. This sounds amazing. I don't love macaroni salad. I don't know what it is. It's got like a flavor to it. Like it's like a vinegary, right? Like
mayonnaise.
Yeah, for some reason the one ingredient. Do you guys relate to this? The one ingredient that doesn't fit in is macaroni salad.
Oh no, but once you have a bite, you'll be like, oh yeah, I needed this mac salad the whole time.
Yeah, the vinegarish taste.
The vinegarish taste. Yeah. Like I'm like, oh yeah, no, I totally believe you. You're right. I could see it maybe complementing these other flavors. The other one is if I'm gonna have to eat this with no hands, I think the problem will be the baked beans. Like you don't want to eat those with no hands.
Oh boy.
I haven't eaten baked beans like regularly since I was a kid. I don't know why. I feel like baked beans were a huge thing when I was a kid, but now is it because they're not perceived as healthy? Like no one's like, oh, I went home and had a big bowl of baked beans last night.
It's like camping food.
Everyone has like black beans or like pinto.
I love baked beans. I always order them when I'm at like a barbecue spot. I think they're great. And I love combining them with the mac salad.
I'll put them on a hot dog.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so garbage plate. Bills, Eagles coming up right around Thanksgiving.
So the regular season game. Okay. Because I was thinking we could do it in the Super Bowl. It'd be even more fun for both of us.
Well, I mean...
that won't happen.
Someone's being presumptuous.
Yeah, good grief. I mean...
Yeah, you're right. The Bills are not making the Super Bowl.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I'm totally in. Wait, so you're going to do it too?
Yeah. I mean, this is the bet. This is what the guys in Rochester... who are awesome, by the way, just really fun. This is what they cooked up for us.
Yeah, I just want to eat this food. I'm not thrilled about the no hands thing because...
that's now our signature thing. Bring the ponchos back out. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like the peanut butter and jelly are more our signature thing.
Well, I think this would be our new signature thing.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, garbage plates all around. So that's going to be a show bet when the Bills play the Eagles coming up later on.
What if there's an injury to either quarterback before? Does the bet off? If it's Marcus Mariota for the Eagles or Kyle Allen for the Bills, I will give you. If it's Kyle Allen, I won't make you eat the plate.
I still think they'll win.
Oh, well, that's not happening.
Okay, so that's going to be one of the new show bets. Garbage plate from Rochester, New York, lovely city, in a place that is now claimed me, Perloff, as one of their own, which was incredibly flattering. So beyond that, we do have the poll question out. Ryan Day or James Franklin, who is under more pressure when Ohio State meets Penn State this Saturday in Columbus? 855-212-4CBS. I say that Ryan Day is under more pressure. Perloff thinks James Franklin is under more pressure. We want to hear from you. Coming up, a lot more to do, including Is one NFL defense good enough to lead their team to the Super Bowl, even with a backup quarterback? We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Today's Thursday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The Jags and Saints are in New Orleans, as we have discussed. Trevor Lawrence banged up for the Jags with a sprained left knee suffered during Jacksonville's 37-20 win over the Colts on Sunday. 3 minutes left in the game. Ooh, that was not a good idea, what the Jags did. Anyway, meanwhile, the Saints sit at 3-3 following a 20-13 loss to Houston last week. New Orleans is a slight 1.5-point favorite on FanDuel. Still, if Trevor Lawrence is playing, how New Orleans is favored in this game is mind-boggling to me. I actually locked it in at 1.5 on the Saints, assuming that at some point they're going to say Trevor Lawrence is playing and it's going to swing the other way.
The other part of this, too, about why the Saints are favored is why I'm a little surprised is the amount of injuries for the Saints. Yeah. Juwan Johnson, the tight end, is out. Ryan Ramczyk is out.
Yeah.
James Hurst is out. So you're missing 2. I'm sorry, Landon Young is out. So you're missing 3
They're putting
offensive
in,
linemen.
Trevor Penning, who's this bust of a first-round pick, is playing. I think he's playing left tackle. And then Cam Irving, you know that guy who's been on pretty much every team in the league from Florida State? He's playing too. I thought he was out of the league. But doesn't matter, though, because if the Jags don't have Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be a 13-10 game.
Wait, I wasn't done with the injury report.
Oh, there's more?
There's more. Demario Davis is questionable, and Tyrann Mathieu is questionable on the defense. Derek Carr's got a shoulder issue.
Tyrann Mathieu might not matter because I feel like the Saints are going to get a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. If they think he can't move, they're just going to tee off and come at him. That's why I think you might have suggested, why play Trevor Lawrence here? If he has a sprained knee, why risk it?
I don't think it's a good idea because, first of all, are we not sure that C.J. Beathard could actually win this game?
I'm not sure. Well, wait, am I sure or not?
Sorry.
No, I'm not sure.
Is it possible that C.J. Beathard could win this game? Let me reframe. I feel like a lawyer. Let me reframe the question.
I think we all think it's possible that C.J. Beathard could win this game.
Maybe we're not being nice enough here to the New Orleans Saints. Their defense is really top-notch.
Short week at home. I think if this was on a Sunday, the line would be different. Thursday games have a weird rhythm. Poor Al Michaels. He's going to see if it's C.J. Beathard going against a beat-up Saints, Derek Carr's still not healthy. I feel like Al and Kirk are going to have to vamp, and nothing is more uncomfortable.
It's they need like a third co-host to come in when the game's like 2 scores or more.
They've had some bad luck this year. There's no way around it.
I think it'd be funny if all of a sudden it's like, all right, and that makes the game, 24 to 7. And we're just going to bring in, like, Joel McHale is now going to join us and bring us home the rest of the way. Just have a comic on standby.
Well, I'm not sure after the Dennis Miller Monday Night Football thing, Al would accept that. But
that's true.
It is a tough game to do. I saw Herbie the other day doing a college game on Saturday night, and he's like, the level of excitement.
Sounds incredible.
That it's not just him, too. The actual game was so much more exciting, too, that this is kind of a bummer. But, I don't expect much here. I am betting on Jacksonville, just assuming that Trevor Lawrence is going to play. Because they would have to be favored if Lawrence was out there, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you think that the short week?
I think that has something to do with it, but we'll see. Again, if I was Trevor Lawrence and if I was the Jaguars, I would not play him. Can we hear from Doug Peterson talking about their backup is C.J. Beathard, and he's always prepared.
A lot of confidence in CJ, obviously, if that's the case. He prepares himself each week as if he is the starter. He does a great job in game with Trevor. Obviously, the communication there, and I've seen it the last year and a half being around him, and obviously his career. So a lot of confidence in him, and I know he'll be ready just like he always is.
I would just love for one time a head coach to be totally honest and be like, backup quarterback, we got no shot. No prayer. All those Saints defenders, they're going to the Pro Bowl off of this tape. That's going to be the thing.
Although you have to admit, C.J. Beathard's like, that guy's been around. I've watched C.J. Beathard play in many, many football games.
Yeah, I've watched him lose a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he has not done great. But this is, I mean, obviously, this is a dream night for me. I got early Phillies baseball into Thursday night, a night game. My guy Goddard Bedard is probably playing. There's so many choices. This is classic October sports night for me. I'm thrilled.
You actually could take a nap on the Phillies game, considering that that's going to be a blowout. So
No,
they got
Bilotti, I would bet on Arizona tonight. The Phillies are due some kind of bullpen implosion.
No. This is what you call in the bag.
No.
Yeah. This is a dominant Phillies team we're watching here. They got the good vibes going. Nothing is going to penetrate that.
No. You guys think you can jinx my Phillies? You can't do it. You have to be
You're
doing the reverse
us.
jinx. You're trying to anti-jinx the Phillies.
No, I mean, they're not going to. I think they could lose a game here. It's not like they're going to sweep Arizona.
I don't know about that.
You convinced us, you know. You were
I didn't
talking a
convince you.
lot about the Phillies and how you were excited about their, being at the parade and who was going to go with you and all that stuff. And now we're just on board with you.
I got my Vaughn Hayes jersey ready to go.
I mean, the guy pitching for the Diamondbacks today, his last name is Fat, Pfaadt. His ERA is 5.72. I feel like he's going to give up runs.
How did this team beat the Dodgers?
Because baseball is 100% unpredictable, but that's why you guys, I know you're messing with me here, but you have no idea if the Phillies are going to win tonight.
Baseball is a little predictable because the Dodgers started the ghost of Clayton Kershaw and a rookie who had never pitched in the playoffs before, and neither one of them. Now, Kershaw giving up 6 runs and getting 1 out is a little unpredictable, but him struggling wasn't.
That's true.
And then
so you bet on the Diamondbacks then?
I don't bet on anything.
The 84-win team?
I didn't bet on anything, but that game, it was not outlandish for Arizona to win either one of those games because of who started for the Dodgers.
Right, and plus the Dodgers and Braves have that tendency to win one title in 30 years, so that it fit the line of everything.
Oh, poor Bilotti. You've been so hurt by baseball, haven't you?
Baseball's been very good to me.
Bogusch is here. He's got headlines for us. Good morning.
Good morning again. When my computer works, I'll give you those headlines. Here we go. They're sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Get the tools you need from the brands you trust. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. We have already discussed the early offense for the Astros in Game 3 of the ALCS in Arlington last night. There was also some mid-game defense that helped them win.
2-2. That's hammered deep to left center field, headed toward the gap. Brantley racing over, and he runs it down! What a catch by Michael Brantley! Deep left center field, then goes into a tumble on the warning track, holds on to the baseball. Inning over.
Robert Ford on Astros radio. Brantley's running, stumbling catch, preserving a 5-2 lead in the 6th. They became an 8-5 win, cutting Houston's deficit in the best of 7 to 2-1. Dusty Baker happy to finally be on the board.
We were close to winning the first 2 games. We were 1 hit away. It might not have won, but we were 1 hit away from at least tying it up or going ahead. I mean, this team doesn't quit. We know that the Rangers don't quit either.
Houston is now 3-0 on the road in these playoffs after 51 road wins during the regular season. They had the better starting pitcher last night, Christian Javier allowing just 2 runs over 5 2/3, while Max Scherzer gave up 5 over 4 in his first start in 5 weeks.
Loser.
Game 4 tonight after that Game 3 of the NLCS in Arizona. The Las Vegas Aces began the night down 2 starters. Then they were down 12 points in the third quarter, but they rallied for a 70-69 win at the Liberty, who, breaking news, play in Brooklyn to claim their 2nd WNBA title in a row. Head coach Becky Hammon.
This one's sweeter. It just is. It's harder to do.
They win this series in 4 games. They are the 3rd repeat champs in league history, the first since the Sparks in the 2001 and 02 seasons. Asia Wilson, the finals MVP, after 24 points and 16 boards.
Do we think that Mark Davis is still partying somewhere around Lower Manhattan? We could probably find him.
By the way, can I make one comment about women's basketball? The fact that I didn't know that Liberty were in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think right now it's one of those sports where the college sport, women's college basketball is going to blow up so big this year because of the Angel Reese thing. I think it's going to be
the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I think the ratings are going to be.
Course.
I mean, I think honestly the women's ratings are going to challenge the men's ratings this year. I think it's going to be so big. And men's college basketball has never been more down. I think the fact that Caitlin Clark could fill up a football stadium, don't you guys sense that this sport is really going to be on fire this year?
And here's the other thing. When does somebody take a chance on Becky Hammon in the NBA?
Yeah.
That's coming soon.
It's
Very
funny.
good coach.
she's a great coach, obviously. You got the Popovich stamp of approval. And, I understand why she felt like she had to go be a head coach somewhere, right? Like, show that you can do this, and then hopefully she does get a shot.
Safe to say Steph Curry's ready for the NBA regular season.
Steph's got it. 8 seconds. The 3 to win the game. Got it! He hits it with 5.5. The Kings are out of timeouts.
I've got a lot of questions after this one.
I do too. Why is he in the game at that point?
That's the first question. Nobody's playing past the third quarter. He's still out there, and all the top Kings are still out there. The place is packed. They're going nuts for a Steph Curry 5-second left three-pointer in a preseason game.
Do they know the season doesn't start till next week?
I mean, these are the Warriors. They have important regular season games.
Steph Curry's not a young man.
No.
What's he out there messing around with De'Aaron Fox for?
Let's be honest. I mean, they don't really have to start really trying until February.
Right.
Yeah. Not only do you not try for preseason, don't try until March. Maggie's right.
He's had 30 in this game, and they won 116-115 when De'Aaron Fox missed his own 3 on the other end.
Can you play California Love any louder, too?
Ben Simmons had 2 points, missed all 4 shots he took, but he did have 8 rebounds and 7 assists in the Nets' 107-104 win in Miami. After the Eagles signed Julio Jones, the Chiefs had to make their own move at wide receiver, so they're ready for their Super Bowl rematch. KC trading for old friend McCole Hardman, swapping late-round picks with the Jets to make that happen. Hardman had just 1 catch, played just 28 snaps for New York after signing with them during the offseason.
How many receivers do the Chiefs have?
Well, none that are good. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. They have 8 Bs.
Yeah. Yeah, I part of me wishes that they didn't win the Super Bowl so we could talk about them missing Tyreek Hill.
I know. That would be a simpler headline. Now, right. But McCole Hardman's going to have a jet sweep in the AFC Championship game. It goes for a touchdown.
It's like death taxes. I wish I could put a bet on it right now.
He's going to have 1 reception for 83 yards.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Chiefs. It's like they have no receivers, and Justin Watson burns you for 35.
Eagles tackle Lane Johnson did not practice yesterday after hurting his ankle in Sunday's loss to the Jets. Nick Sirianni said it's too early to rule Johnson out for this weekend. Hockey last night, the Senators on a 3-game win streak after thumping the Capitals 6-1. The Penguins 6-3 losers in Detroit. And I think I mentioned yesterday that Neymar hurt his knee in Brazil's World Cup qualifier the night before. He's now been diagnosed with a torn ACL and meniscus. Guys, back to you.
Oh, thank you, Andrew Bogish. Being told here in the chat that Becky Hammond actually had turned down an opportunity to interview for the Toronto Raptors job.
Oh, wow. Who got that job? Actually, I don't.
That's the guy from the Bucks, right?
Oh, an assistant
Adrian Griffin.
Oh, Adrian Griffin's in Toronto now? Okay.
I think so.
No, he's the Bucks coach.
Oh, he's the Bucks coach. Yeah. So the Raptors coach then...
I think
he's a guy
Griffin
I don't know.
Played in Toronto.
Right. He came from Toronto to Milwaukee, so I had that reversed.
It's not Becky Hammond, though.
It's not Becky Hammond.
Darko Rajakovic? Am I butchering that?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's Rajakovic.
Darko Rajakovic is the Raptors coach? I don't feel bad for not knowing that at all. Not even for a second.
He was a Serbian professional basketball coach.
That would not have been my 10th guess.
Also, he was the head coach of the Tulsa 66ers of the G League.
Right before this?
Stand by.
If they had hired Darko Milicic, then we'd be talking about something.
Right, and that's why you wouldn't interview for Becky Hammond, because you know you're not beating Darko.
Yeah,
you don't want to waste your time going to Toronto.
Have you guys seen a picture of Darko in the last 5 years?
Don't tell me. He's a big man now? Wait, seriously. What's he doing?
Gosh, he was
I have no
huge.
idea.
He's a farmer now.
Yeah, I thought he was a farmer. He was famously, for people who don't know, wasn't he sandwiched between LeBron when one, then Darko, then Carmelo?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
amazing.
That's
Detroit doing Detroit things.
That's tough. I mean, I believe he was on the championship team, though. Just not a big contributor.
Was Darko on that 2014?
Yes,
Must have been. He was at the end of the bench.
Yeah. So he's got one more ring than Melo.
Melo's got a lot of gold medals.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Yeah, head coach of the Tulsa 66ers, and then assistant for the Thunder, Phoenix, and the Grizzlies. Now Raptors.
There you go.
So there you go.
Fear Darko Rajakovic.
Oh, not that easy, huh?
Listen, he's probably like a god in Serbia, so or probably ticking off anybody who's listening in Belgrade. Okay, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I think we are pretty big in Belgrade, I've heard.
If the Odyssey app works in Belgrade, but not on Long Island, I've got questions for IT.
A lot of questions.
We're coming in crystal clear in Belgrade. Yeah. even know what show would we be. Afternoons?
Yeah, afternoon drive time.
We're afternoon drive in Belgrade, and we're killing it.
This is actually, by the way, doing some deep dive on Rakovic. Yeah. He earned his degree in basketball coaching from Belgrade Basketball Academy in 2004. So he has like an actual degree in coaching.
Yeah, you can like major in basketball. I did know that about Serbia. They've got a great pipeline.
What are you, prerequisite in dribbling 101?
Yeah, what are your classes?
Yeah, set and
What are
screens.
classes? Zone defense?
Yeah.
But that sounds like
offense.
That sounds like one of those like diploma mills you go to qualify to play in college. You went to like the Georgia Basketball Academy.
I got to tell you right
It's
now,
an actual building.
If Belgrade Basketball Academy has an online course, I'm definitely getting a degree right now.
It's YouTube.
This is Will Chamberlain.
Yeah.
YouTube clips of that guy dribbling. No, but here's the thing. I'd rather actually be able to major in basketball than have to do like sociology where I don't care. I don't show up to any of the classes. Like, I think if you play football at Ohio State, Michigan, wherever you play, you should be able to major in football.
Yeah, I mean,
Why not?
because it's kind of supposed to be an academic institution. I mean, quote unquote.
Perloff. Come on.
I think athletes learning about sedimentary rocks is actually very comical to me.
Yeah. It's like, here's where the river delta comes through. Like, that doesn't do anything for anybody. Yeah, rocks for jocks. I also like the other parts that go along, not just like major in basketball, but then also get like a finance, how to manage your finances.
I always hear that. Everyone's like, oh, they should teach these kids in college. Like, anybody takes a finance course in college, it's going to help.
Listen, anything, right? It's like, hey, how do you navigate becoming a millionaire overnight? That no one else in the
There's
world.
no class that can teach you that.
Hide it under the bed.
There's
Start
no
there.
class that deals, okay, when the 37 people closest to you in life are asking for money, how do you say no? There's no class for that.
No, I think there could be a class for that. Maybe you get, people who famously lost their money to come in and speak.
Yeah, I mean, they do
They'll
that in the
take the
NBA.
payday.
They do that a lot in pros. So
Yeah, right. But that's like a seminar for a day. This is like a 6-month course.
Wait, they're not going to sociology class. What makes you think they're going to go to this
Well,
class?
they might actually. This one might be useful. 855-212-4CBS. Bogish, thank you so much. 855-212-4227. Okay, a lot more to do, including some high-profile quarterbacks struggling right now in the NFL. Is it real or is it just our imagination? We'll get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. This is Maggie Gray with a CBS Sports Minute sponsored by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. Ohio State and Penn State meet this Saturday in Columbus, and this is a major test for James Franklin and the Nittany Lions, who have lost 10 of their last 11 to the Buckeyes. Penn State has been close to breaking up the stranglehold that Ohio State and Michigan have had. Penn State has been close to breaking up the stranglehold that. Penn State has been close to. Now on CBS Sports Radio. Glad to have you along. All right, there's been a few quarterbacks, Perloff, in the NFL where we're expecting big things from them. So far, have not delivered on that. So we're going to play a little game called Is This Real or Is This Imagine? Some early season, I can't even say struggles for some of these guys. It's been real struggles. For others, it's just been not what we are accustomed to. I'm going to tell you whether this is a real thing or whether this is an imagined thing. And let's start close to home with you with Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Are his struggles so far this season real or imagined?
Imagined. Because the Eagles have been grinding out wins. They haven't been explosive at all because they haven't needed to be. They're 5-1. Basically, they're doing whatever they need to win the game, which means running the ball a lot. And, of course, they're still the elite running team in the league. What's going on here?
Yeah, I like this. It's like a
Is that
dream-like
Russian ballerina?
Is this real or is it all a dream?
So he's doing exactly what they need to do to win. And listen, he played a tough Jets defense last week. He made one terrible mistake, but generally played very well. He had 280 passing yards against the Jets. That's no small accomplishment. And there was a gigantic drop by Devontae Smith that would have been a 50-yard play. So it's a team thing. I still see elite play. What do you think?
I'm a little nervous for your guy, Jalen Hurts.
Why is that?
The turnovers. We get all over quarterbacks for interceptions, whether they're all their fault or whether they're not all their fault. And the fact that Jalen Hurts has 7 interceptions on the season, which is more than all of last season, and we're not even to Halloween yet. You know, we saw how this spiraled out of control for Dak Prescott. I'm not saying those two guys play the same way, but we did see how that got out of control for Prescott. And once you start pressing, it can just snowball on itself. I think Jalen Hurts last year really benefited from the weak schedule. They were a great team. They deserved to be in the Super Bowl, but that was a very light schedule. It's gotten a little tougher now, and you've seen Jalen Hurts come back to the pack just a little bit.
You would never have said that before last week, though. I mean, he was nearly flawless. I know he had 2 meaningless picks and a blowout over the Bucs. But I think this is all a function of the Jets. And I know I actually have not been pro-Jets. To me, that's really because that defense is really good. So even though Sauce Gardner wasn't even out there, but he was under a ton of pressure, and he avoids it. Anyway, okay, who's next? You're getting me all emotional here.
We got to try to separate yourself from the emotion. Coming up, okay, the next one, Daniel Jones. I think this one's real, guys.
Oh, you do?
Just going out on a limb here. I think Jones might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, I hate to kick a guy when he's down. He's now dealing with a neck injury, one that he dealt with before and caused him to miss a lot of games 2 years ago. But I always thought that Daniel Jones was on a bit of a heater last year. The numbers were never fantastic to begin with, and he benefited from the new coach and new offense bump. He is great when he's able to use his legs, but look what happens. You use your legs and someone like Daniel Jones, and he hasn't been able to protect himself consistently. So Jones, kudos to him. He's got $90 million guaranteed in the bank. These Duke grads, man, they can never catch a break. So I'm glad that Daniel Jones is set for life. But he robbed the Giants with this contract, and the Giants allowed it. But give him a mask and a gun because he took their money.
I don't totally agree with that because they were going to have to tag him anyway, and it really would have almost ultimately cost him similar amount of money. It's such a short deal. They can get out of it so quickly.
Yeah, but not in 1 year, in 2.
Yeah. You know what really bothers me about this whole situation? It seems like such a cliche that the offense all of a sudden looked better when Saquon Barkley was out there. Because you figured you pay Daniel Jones so the quarterback would be the catalyst for this offense. And you're famously not paying Saquon Barkley. And then it turns out exactly what every Giants fan thought. Saquon was the key, not Daniel Jones. Very disappointing.
Jones, another guy who already has surpassed his interception total from a year ago. He had 5 last year. He's already got 6, and he even missed a game. Okay, let's move on. Joe Burrow. Perloff, some early season struggles, real or imagined?
Because he was limping. And now, are you kidding me? Joe Burrow, if anything, we should talk about the miraculous recovery. Has anyone gone from limping in week 2 to running around like basically, I'm trying to think of Randall Cunningham or some mobile quarterback? It's incredible what he's done, and it's completely changed the outlook on the Bengals. I think this is... his early season struggles are imagined based on the fact that he's moving around. He looks great.
Okay, so you do have to handicap this a little bit because we know he is kind of, I don't say gutting it out through an injury because now he looks a lot better.
Yeah, what happened to that injury?
I don't know.
Dr. Maggie, help me out here.
Where's the I-Team investigative unit on what happened?
I don't know if there's a steroid out there that can help heal a calf, though.
No, I'm not alleging anything steroid related, but something all of a sudden, he got real healthy.
But I don't know if there's any magical blood spinning that can make your calf go from injured to healthy like that.
Listen, I mean, just credit the training staff and Joe Burrow being diligent, and now he looks like he's really good. But I think there's something different here about Burrow. Now, maybe it's because of some injuries to his wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I was to say,
because
T. Higgins is not out there.
His completion percentage is down significantly. It was 68% last year. Now it's 63%. And I thought he was dreadful in the second half of that Seahawks game. I'm not prisoner of the moment. One half doesn't define a likely future Hall of Famer in Joe Burrow, but it has looked different. I just don't know how much to just blame the calf and everything can be blamed on the calf, or is there something else going on? Because now we're into week 7. You can't say not having a preseason and not having training camp. I can't blame that now, especially for a guy who's in his 4th year.
You're breaking the cardinal rule, Maggie. The cardinal rule of the Maggie and Perloff Show. Don't bet against Joe Burrow. I'm sure you would have thought Joe Burrow was a lot worse last year than he is now. I've seen this Bengals team come out of nowhere too much. Can't do it. This is totally imagined. Joe Burrow is going to be fine. I do think his numbers are going to be down because Cleveland's defense is so insane right now. It seems to rain every time anyone plays them as well. But I think he's going to be there in the end.
Wait, Cleveland's defense?
Cleveland's defense is so good, it's going to knock out Joe Burrow's numbers down a little bit.
Oh, just because they have to play him twice a year?
Yeah, they just have to play him twice. And I just think in general, and also, I think that division is going to be tough to have super elite numbers there. So I think his numbers might go down because the AFC North is kind of up on defense this year, right?
I don't know. I feel like the AFC North always has great defenses, and we never use that as he's had great numbers in the past.
This Cleveland one is way different, though. I think they're breaking every record. Honestly, I think Joe Burrow is going to be great. He does need T. Higgins back because how do you stop the Bengals? It's obvious. You just put everybody you have on Jamar Chase, and they don't have any second weapon.
Bengals schedule at San Francisco, home
that's
for
gonna be bad,
Buffalo,
too.
Houston, at Baltimore, Pittsburgh, at Jacksonville. Oof.
Tough defenses.
Let's see how those numbers look as we head into
But Baltimore
December.
and Cleveland play those teams too, and Pittsburgh. So it's all going to even out, hopefully.
Final one, quickly. Justin Herbert. Now, Herbert, the numbers are actually there. The numbers have been the same. It's just the inability to, this season, the inability to win a big game when you have the ball in your hands going for that final drive. Couldn't do it against Miami in the opener. Couldn't do it on Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys. Couldn't do it against the Titans.
Well, yeah. No, this is the end of the Brandon Staley era.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything this year. They're not going anywhere. His numbers will be great. He'll probably have 33 touchdowns and 10 picks, and we'll say, okay, he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. But I've been saying this all week. Do not judge Justin Herbert right now. Get a real coach in there. Get a better coach. I actually think Brandon Staley seems like a great guy, but this team is just not well coached. The decisions, the game management, everything. Do not judge him based on this year. I think he's going to be fine big picture.
Yeah, I think that he's too good. And he's been in the league too long, where Carlos is now dancing along to this music.
Yeah, what?
That you can totally absolve him from this. If he is really the elite quarterback that we think he is, and that we've been anointing him as, then he's got to win some of these big games. And he was bad against the Dallas Cowboys. No way around it. Okay. That was our real or imagine. I like it. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, we're going to play a fun game here. And it's all based off of a Jim Irsay quote. So what could this be? We'll have to find out next. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Got some big show discussions going on, debates, if you will. You're welcome to get involved in both of them. Number one, we're going to see Trevor Lawrence tonight. We think he's dealing with a slight sprain or a sprain of his knee, which means a little bit of a tear. I would not play him in this game. They're in New Orleans to play the Saints. Sit him. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. This is a short week. You know, Jags coming off of 3 straight wins. I think you can afford to sit Trevor Lawrence here, Perloff, and not do any more, hopefully no more further damage to that knee.
As a football fan, I disagree. I think I cannot afford to sit there and watch C.J. Beathard go against the ghost of Derek Carr on Thursday Night Football and watch Al Michaels try and get through it. This is going to be, like every game is this year, going to be a low-scoring slog, even with Trevor Lawrence, because he's so good when he moves, and I can't imagine him moving with a knee brace.
No, they're going to have to be very careful here if he does play. So we'll see when we get some confirmation about that. So you are welcome to vote at Maggie and Pearl on Twitter. Is Trevor Lawrence an elite quarterback right now? I say yes. Perloff says no. You are welcome to go there and vote. Our other big show debate that's going on, Penn State, Ohio State this weekend, Perloff. This is a massive one. Both teams ranked in the top 7. And to be honest, like, Penn State's been knocking on the door, but has not been able to crack the stranglehold that Ohio State and Michigan have had over the Big Ten in the last few years. This looks like a golden opportunity. Ohio State's down a little bit, doesn't have the star power quarterback that we're used to seeing. This could be it, but the game's on the road is always a tough place to play.
Yeah, but all right, this is very dumb, but isn't Columbus and State College basically the same place? Like, is it
not with the fan bases? They're going to be rabid.
I know. It just doesn't feel like Ohio State. You know, Ohio State did this kind of last year with C.J. Stroud, where they started off slow offensively, then they started picking it up. But it just doesn't feel like that Ohio State. You know, with pros that, you know, they do have the pros at wide receiver, but they don't have the quarterback, which is so unusual for them. I expect a real slug about it. If Penn State wins, I'm wearing my Penn State sweatshirt on Monday, and I'm claiming that fan base as mine.
You already have.
Penn State is huge in Philadelphia. You do not believe this? Because our boss, Spike Eskin, who's from Philadelphia, poo-pooed it. But I'm telling you,
basically said it was a flat-out lie.
It's a Nittany Lion town, depending on how they do on Saturday.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. So you're welcome to go vote. Who has more pressure on them heading into this game on Saturday? I say it's Ryan Day of Ohio State. Perloff thinks it's James Franklin. Okay, anytime Jim Irsay opens up his mouth, it makes us pay attention. The latest, Perloff, is Jim Irsay talking about Anthony Richardson, who unfortunately is going to be undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery, which is a bummer on many levels. But he had an interesting comparison.
Yeah, so Jim Irsay always talks about classic rock. He owns Bob Dylan's guitar and all these famous, Elton John's piano and all these famous things. So he was at the owners' meeting, and he was talking to Jory Epstein, the excellent NFL reporter, and he said this about his quarterback, Anthony Richardson, in Indy. Like John Landau said about Bruce Springsteen back in 1974, I've seen the future of rock and roll, and his name is Bruce Springsteen. Well, I've seen the future of the NFL, and his name is Anthony Richardson, and I believe it. It's a pretty good quote from Irsay. I don't know.
Bad.
I'm actually curious. I'm like, you know what? He might be right. Anthony Richardson is special. You just got to keep him healthy. So this led us into a quarterback music conversation.
Yeah, like if you were comparing quarterbacks to, rock stars or whatever, who would it be? So Carlos is here today. Carlos loves incorporating music of all types into the show. It's his forte. So he has picked out a couple songs for us, and we're going to match them up, 5 songs, and we're going to match them up with quarterbacks. Now, full disclosure, we have not heard these songs yet. So
I think we
Carlos's picks.
I think we should shout out whatever to me, this is like the immediate quarterback that comes into your mind. You have to shout it out. Okay. Don't overthink it. Just because I feel like, Carlos, these are instinctual, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Pete, let's hear song number 1. Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Something a little like poppy, a little Baker. It's like a little bit more sizzle than substance.
Tua. I feel Tua.
Tua from Hit Me Baby One More Time because he gets hit a lot. Jeez, Perloff, way to be on the nose.
He's really on the nose because that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
He's doing jiu-jitsu now.
Daniel Jones.
I had Josh Allen for this song. He just loves getting hit.
Yeah, well, sometimes he's doling out the punishment, though. Either way, it's not what you want.
Oh, so you're going directly lyric here. I see. I didn't know how this was exactly going to work.
Hey, listen, either or. We're free falling here. We can do whatever we want.
I kind of like the vibe, though, right? There's something a little Hollywood about Baker to me, you know? He's got a lot of charisma. I think he loves the camera.
Baker seems like a country song to me.
Well, I mean, he's from Texas, but so let's not get so literal.
Okay. I mean, well, it's Carlos's game.
It's true.
You can't.
There's no wrong answers here.
You're like, no, that
really
was Baker Mayfield.
We all win.
It's just so funny. Like,
so Josh Allen.
We did Bruce Springsteen first, and then it was just Britney Spears right out of the gate. I like it.
All right. Number 2.
Dak Prescott. Gotta be.
No, it's got to be. Well, it could be Dak Prescott. Which quarterback thinks he's a model? I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence's hair on the catwalk, flipping it back. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence.
Could be Trevor Lawrence. I like that. Something about the glamour of being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because I don't think Dak is really this kind of guy, but there's something that comes with being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
See, I would actually have said Travis Kelce because he feels like he's going to show up at Fashion Week walking the catwalk in some ridiculous outfit.
If he hasn't already.
What do you got?
I had Joe Burrow.
Definitely. Oh, it's totally Joe Burrow. Okay. Why did we not think of that?
Hold on, though. The one thing about Burrow is that once we found out that Jamar Chase was picking out all of his outfits and that he would rather wear khaki pants like Jim Harbaugh.
No. That's old Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow now this year he's upped it to a whole new level. Every week it's something different.
Okay, wait. Did we just miss on the obvious one? The person who would think that's their theme music? Russell Wilson. Nobody loves himself.
He would totally come out to the tunnel with that song.
Loves him. No one loves him some Russell Wilson like Russell Wilson.
I don't remember one outfit Russell's really worn, except for that. He had that one sequin shirt in Sports Illustrated that everyone killed him for. He's not really a fashion guy, is he? His wife is, but not him.
All right, what's next?
Oh.
Zach
Kirk
Wilson.
Cousins. Definitely not Zach Wilson.
No, I know. I thought of it for a second. I'm like, I think he's really religious is what I went to. But then obviously he's sleeping with his friend's mom. So allegedly.
It's got to be a young quarterback if they're a virgin. I mean, I don't think.
Tim Tebow.
Oh, Tim Tebow. But
he's not playing. Not active right now.
Actually, Tim Tebow's spot on. I'm definitely down with Maggie.
Purdy guy has a little virgin vibe.
Oh, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy actually probably is a virgin.
No.
I had Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
He's
none of our business.
He could be. He's very, very religious, and he is not married.
Okay.
He's engaged, I believe.
It's possible. Okay, so Purdy.
And he has a roommate. We all know that. They talk about that every time he plays. That's a good one. Tebow is better, though.
Yeah. I mean, Tebow's the...
You don't think Tebow's crossed that threshold by now?
Well, he's married now.
Oh, so he definitely has.
Yeah, he married Miss Universe.
Probably. You never know.
Still not sure.
Doesn't have any kids. We have no actual proof.
What's next?
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it.
Like, who's like a kind of a punk rocky quarterback?
I thought that
Maybe Baker Mayfield for this one.
I thought Justin Fields like came out in his press conference and basically aired out the whole organization. Said, you know, I think he's kind of got a little punk rock in him.
I feel like Baker Mayfield planting his flag on the opponent's. That was college.
Yeah, that was college.
But I feel like he would do that today if he could. Yeah, that's a tough. Like a gritty quarterback. Somebody.
Now, let me tell you in the Twitch chat, Ostrich Eyes is basically 4 for 4 with everything. He and I were so linked.
Yeah.
Because we both have Aaron Rodgers to this song. I went very lyrical and literal on this song.
Which lyric? Sorry.
Sometimes I give myself the creeps.
Yeah. He's like, I'm one of those melodramatic fools. Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
Screamed Aaron Rodgers to me.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right about that. Although I do like my Justin Fields pick on that one as well.
Wait, why is your? I didn't understand what you were saying.
Well, Justin Fields, remember just a couple weeks ago, he had a press conference where he essentially said, like, we're not playing the way that I need to play. This was the same day that their defensive coordinator had to resign in a shroud of secrecy. Like, I thought that Justin Fields sort of went out there and kind of called out everyone in the organization, whether he meant to or not directly. And I thought
I think you're fighting for your choices a little too hard here.
All right, what's next? Jimmy Garoppolo, never going to give you up.
That's a good one. Oh, man, now I can't think. I'd go with Maggie. That's Jimmy G.
The league cannot quit this guy. Even though it was the most predictable thing ever that he would get hurt and not be a big factor for the Raiders, or at least...
You know the rules, and so do I. It's also just a damn good song.
Are you just this whole segment just to rickroll us here? Is that the whole point?
No. So I went with Patrick Mahomes. He's never leaving Kansas City. Kansas City's never going to give him up. You're always going to win a championship anytime Mahomes is there. This is the Mahomes song.
Yeah.
Are we 0 for 5? We're 0 for 5, aren't we?
No, Maggie got one.
Which one?
Maggie had the Brock Purdy. She was on the
Brock Purdy. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any wrong answers for this.
That's the best part about this game. Everyone gets orange slices and trophies.
It's our kind of game. Was that it? Was that 5?
And by the way, isn't it funny? Anthony Richardson, I would say to Maggie, I bet you he doesn't even know who Bruce Springsteen is. Like, there's no connection between the two.
I don't even know who Bruce Springsteen is.
Yeah. I don't know. Do the youngs like Bruce Springsteen? I know that the middle-aged sports reporters love them some Bruce Springsteen.
Listen, like everything in life, in 20 years, people will refine. Not that I can't find Bruce Springsteen, but it will come back around and be super in vogue with young people.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson's, is he 21 years old?
Something like that. Wait, did we do all 5?
Yeah, he's 21.
Did we do them all 5? We did them, okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know, that was good. I think that becomes a running theme on this show. We could do this across multiple sports.
Yeah, so what's up?
You can open it
NBA
up to any
really
of the
fun.
position players. You'd have a field day with NFL alone.
Which left guard is I'm too sexy? 855-212-4CBS.
Jason Kelsey.
855-212-4227. Maggie and Perloff. Hey, if you ever miss any part of the show, you can always download the Maggie and Perloff podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you could give us a 5-star review, we'd be so appreciative. Of course, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app is crystal clear. Sirius XM channel 158, our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates, and youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can watch the show. We're everywhere you are. Okay, coming up, a lot more to do, including one question that has split the show right down the middle. Coming up later in the hour, Jean-Jacques Taylor will join us, a longtime Cowboys reporter, also has written a new book about Deion Sanders. So we got that coming up a little bit later. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone. AutoZone, the free AutoZone Fix Finder service, can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply. What a night for Perloff. Young Andrew Perloff sitting on his couch. 5 o'clock baseball. 8:15 or whatever the Thursday night game is on. flipping back and forth, a little Rangers-Astros.
Because you're really engaged in this Jags-Saints game, huh?
That
Why
one,
would a young Andrew
I'm a
Perloff
little
want
worried
to
about.
care about this one?
I'll probably see if Zion's playing somewhere in the preseason NBA, a little Connor Bedard. October is the best sports month. And anyone who argues for the spring is out of their mind.
I think the spring gives it a run.
Whoa, the spring
NCAA
is the
tournament,
worst.
the Masters.
The spring has the NFL draft.
NFL draft is another good one.
It's not like the fall when actual NFL. This is the season. When people say, what's the sports season? It's the fall.
Yeah, but hockey and basketball don't matter right now. It's just the beginning of the season. So if you're really locked in game to game.
But they're nice fifth options.
I know that 10-day window of Final Fours, baseball starting, NBA,
day.
NHL ending, the Masters, that's a good stretch.
Also, I'm sorry, Pete, if you live in the Northeast, while fall is nice, we're heading into winter. This is about to get pretty dark and pretty cold. Not for us. We'll always have a sunny disposition. But spring is hopeful, and it's going to get warm, and summer's almost here.
You guys don't want to put this up as a poll. I'm telling you right now, you could do two polls. Which is a better season, fall or spring? Fall will win 95%. And which is a better sports season? Fall will win 99%. So I'm just saying, put it out
It's going
there.
to be skewed. I bet if we did that
Skewed
poll
how?
today, it would be people would say fall. And if we put the poll out in the middle of March Madness, I bet they'd say March.
No. Anybody who thinks March is a better sports month than October, I'm not sure I want to be friends with you.
When do you get the Phillies winning a world title?
Yeah.
True.
In the fall.
Yeah.
That's the
2008. I mean, it's not going to.
A time machine.
You're seeing it in real life right in front of your face.
What
right
are you
now.
doing here? What is going on here?
I'm just riding the bandwagon.
Yeah. Just like you do. He's learning from the master. You're the master
No.
bandwagon guy.
No. Did you guys get together behind my back and say you're going to jinx my Philadelphia Phillies? Is that what's happening here?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
And we're just appreciating and acknowledging greatness.
You can't jinx a team that you hate. That's not in the sports rules.
I don't know about
you can only jinx a team you like.
I do not know what you're talking about. I'm trying to be very positive about the Philadelphia Phillies.
I don't like it.
It's not even positive, Pete. It's just being realistic.
Yeah.
That's how good they have been.
That's right.
Don't like anything about this.
Got very classy fans,
Well, that part I agree.
It's the jails in the stadiums are for fun. They have it. They're ready to win another title. I'm very excited about it.
Those jails in the stadium. They're actually handing out Halloween candy down there.
They are.
Fact.
By the way, I know everybody in the world kind of hates Philly sports. This is the most likable baseball team, and it ain't even close. Out of these four teams, this is Kyle Schwarber. I mean, is there anyone who doesn't love him?
I agree.
Yeah.
As one man's opinion. Let's get to the
No,
headlines.
no. That's everybody's opinion.
I love Kyle Schwarber.
No, we're all Philly fans now for you. We're supporting you.
I saw a tweet the other day. This is the one team in baseball who looks like they would show up at the Diamond even if they weren't paid. Like these guys, this is the team. Go ahead.
What heart?
All heart. Grit, toughness.
They're just funny. They wear mullets and they
That's never
celebrate.
been done before.
All gas, no brakes.
There you go.
Wait. So you guys think the Rangers and the Astros and the Diamondbacks are more likable than the Phillies? I just want to get that on the record because once again, in a
Perloff,
slim minority.
We can't tell you. We're already telling you how behind we are. We're behind you or we're behind the Phillies.
Right, because they're so likable.
They're so likable. They're so good. And
But forget the good. No. Take good out of it. I know you guys are messing with me. But likable, that one is for sure. Have you guys not been following how beloved this team is becoming nationwide?
Nationwide?
Yeah, the Phillies are hot right now. Everyone thinks they're like hysterically funny guys, and like this is a popular team.
As a nation, we have to raise our standards to get to the Phillies level in terms of likability.
Yeah.
The big thing is Maggie pointed out the other day, Kyle Schwarber's already played on like 9 teams, so he has fans all over the country. This is a popular, likable team, win or lose.
I don't know.
I mean, come on. Does anybody like the Rangers or the Astros? No.
It's funny. What's funny about it, yeah, you're right, Creed. What's funny about it is, the telltale sign of these super likable teams is when someone has to tell you how likable they are. That's always when you know they have that je ne sais quoi, when someone has to scream from the rooftops, like us.
No, I think it's the mullets.
Bogish is here. Good morning.
If you remember to bet, there was money to be made last night with Max Scherzer returning to the mound for the Rangers.
This one's clubbed. Left field and deep. Going back to Veras. Still going back. It's gone. Ow. That's how you do it.
left center field for Altuve, 6 rows deep.
Robert Ford on Astros radio. Altuve taking Scherzer deep for one of the 5 runs Mad Max allowed over 4 innings. Yes, it was his first start in 5 weeks because of a shoulder injury, but the last time we saw Scherzer on a postseason mound, he was allowing 7 runs in 4 2/3 to the Padres last October. Bruce Bochy has the fresh excuses.
He didn't have his good slider tonight. Left a couple up. He's going to be a little rusty. It's been a month since he's been out there.
But here's the thing, Brucey, that we know from the last year plus, that slider isn't there against good teams when Scherzer is healthy.
Loser.
The Astros led 5-0 and 7-2 last night at Arlington. They won 8-5 to cut their ALCS deficit to 2-1. Yordan Alvarez drove in 2, was robbed of another homer by a jumping catch by center fielder Leody Taveras. Game 4, 7 Central this evening. Game 3 of the NLCS at 5 Eastern in Arizona. So I guess the Las Vegas Aces felt slighted. Asia Wilson didn't win MVP for the regular season. Then some people picked the Liberty to win the WNBA Finals. So Wilson was feeling good after claiming the crown again last night in Brooklyn.
We kept the main thing. This wasn't easy at all. And a lot of people counted us out. From jump. A lot of people in here said Liberty in 5. We know. We know. So that just fueled us.
Wilson 20.
I'm telling you, this is the best. This is a golden age to be an athlete because you can always play the nobody believed in us, and you could be talking about random social media person like who else said the Aces are one of the biggest super teams along with the Liberty.
Yeah.
But it's like beautiful. You don't have to look for the bulletin board material. You don't even need someone to screw up. It's all just sitting right there.
They're the defending champions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane. I love it. I love the. Also, you can also curse at will in a press conference right now.
We've accepted that now as a society.
It's allowed. That was a well-timed curse in a championship celebration.
Wilson, 24 points, 16 boards to win finals MVP. Your team was missing 2 starters, was down 12 in the third, but beat the Liberty 70-69 to take the series in 4 games. They're the first repeat champs in 21 years. As you guys have been mentioning, Trevor Lawrence remains optimistic about playing Thursday Night Football in New Orleans after hurting his knee late in Sunday's win. But the Jaguars did elevate Nathan Rourke to the active roster in case he needs to back up starting QB C.J. Beathard. There are no quarterback issues in Miami right now, but Mike McDaniel was still asked yesterday about the idea that any QB could do what Tua's doing because of McDaniel's scheme and because there's so much skill position talent in Miami. McDaniel did not love the question.
Let's push this podium over. My answer to that would be who the F cares? I've coached stuff a long time. I haven't seen people do what our guys do. Don't try me on other players. I'm not trying to prove that.
The Dolphin.
What's he talking about? Okay.
So it's a really long, meandering question about people think that anybody could come in and do what Tua is doing. So he starts with, I'm about to push the podium over.
Right.
And then he goes into a whole thing that they're doing it because they're all good, not because the system's success. The Dolphin defense had Jalen Ramsey back at practice yesterday. He will not play this weekend, but could return from summer knee surgery in week 8 or 9. It definitely doesn't matter, but Jordan Poole had 41 last night at the Garden. His Wizards beat the Knicks in preseason action, 131-106. Alex DeBrincat scored twice. His Red Wings down the Penguins 6-3, and Ottawa took care of Washington 6-1 for a 3-game win streak.
Is that a crowning achievement for Jordan Poole as a Wizard?
I mean, so far it is.
$5 to anyone who can tell us where Nathan Rourke went to college.
Oh, Nathan Rourke, the quarterback?
LIU.
No, wait. Nathan Rourke, hold on. I know. I know. I know.
2, 1.
No, I know Nathan Rourke. We were just talking about Nathan Rourke 3 months ago.
He is the quarterback that the Jags just signed as the 3rd quarterback.
Hold on.
You don't know it.
I just know he's Canadian.
No, I do. We did this on the show.
Canadian.
I did it. Yeah, he's Canadian, and his brother is like the all-time CFL leading passer.
Oh, I do know. Yes,
Yeah.
That just reminded me because his brother plays quarterback there.
Toronto U.
He plays for Ohio University.
Bobcats. Go Bobcats.
Yeah, remember we did a big bit on him because his brother's the all-time leading passer in CFL or something like that, or it's some big thing on Nathan Rourke. You don't remember our whole Nathan Rourke day?
Well, I mean, I was the one who knew where he went, and you guys did it.
I did.
Well, it took me a while to get my memory jogged
That's
up.
true.
How does Carlos know?
Partial credit to Carlos.
Because Nathan Rourke had this crazy throw that it looked like it was Trevor Lawrence, where he basically dove to like one knee and flung it into the end zone. And everybody thought it was Trevor Lawrence for like 2 seconds before we realized it was Nathan Rourke.
What was his last team?
I don't know. He's been on the practice squad of Jacksonville.
Oh, has he been in Jacksonville the whole time? Didn't he? Why were we talking about him? Does anyone know?
I don't think I was there that day. This sounds like the day I was absent.
Okay. Nathan Rourke had a claim to fame. I do not remember what it was. Okay, go ahead.
I'm done. You go ahead.
Did you guys see? By the way, did you guys talk?
Google.
Anybody see the email I just sent to the group?
No, we're doing an update.
Why would we can't be checking our email?
Well, I think it's important. It's I think actually you guys should check this before we move on because it's important for the next hour, the show traffic.
So we all have to go to our email now.
Why don't you just read it to us?
I already saw the email.
Yeah.
What is it? Some kind of approval rating for how likable the Phillies are?
Oh, okay.
You sure you didn't see the email?
Is that what you said?
Yes, that's what it is.
The Phillies have become the. Who wrote this?
This
the Philly
not a
Inquirer?
Philadelphia guy.
Andrew Perloff.
Yeah, exactly.
No, come on. You guys are
fan
just because of your
69.
hatred for the Phillies, you're missing the whole thing. You're missing the whole
Bryce
story.
Harper.
No, honestly,
You're right.
where
I
did this
wrote it.
come from?
Some dude, I don't know.
I wrote it.
Pete's been moonlighting.
This is by Tyler Jada from some baseball website. It doesn't seem like
Very reputable source.
It's called justbaseball.com. He seems like an outstanding writer. I don't know anything about outstanding on the fact that he likes the Phillies.
Okay, well, he also wrote that the Arizona Diamondbacks just proved they aren't flukes.
But they weren't. They won a series.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Not get swept.
Tyler, I think we should have him on the show. You guys are just blinded by your Mets-colored glasses. You can't even see what's
I'm
right
not
in
a Mets
front of
fan,
you.
and go Phillies.
When should we have him on? Should we have him on at the parade?
I think so. Probably be the keynote speaker.
Reporting live from the float.
Yeah.
This guy is actually, it seems that he's from Toronto. He's a Blue Jays fan. Wait, Carlos, you're a Cubs fan, right?
I am a Cubs fan, but I like Kyle Schwarber. So
Yeah,
go Phillies.
That is actually the secret sauce of the Phillies is all the Cubs fans like him. Because no one loves a player more than Chicago love Kyle Schwarber.
That's right. I still have an Anthony Rizzo jersey, and he's a Yankee.
So who was the more likable player on that Cubs team? Sounds like it might have been Rizzo.
Rizzo was like our
Yeah.
captain. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I actually got very upset when he left.
Oh, yeah, Schwarber's quite popular too.
Schwarber's
right?
is immensely popular because they had that scoreboard dent where he hit that home run, but Rizzo would be one. I think Schwarber would be like 1B.
Got it. What about Chris Bryant? Was he popular?
Yeah, he was right.
I think it's really between the 08 Phillies and this year's Phillies.
No,
in terms
this
of
the 08
popularity.
Phillies. This is a 93 Phillies with Lenny Dykstra reincarnated.
No, I think we're talking about like the 57 Yankees, I thought. That's what we're talking
No,
about.
no, no.
Historic level here.
Doesn't this team remind you guys? You probably might be too young. The 93 Phillies were exactly like this team. They were all like underdogs and like nobodies.
Yeah, Darren Dalton, Dykstra.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Bryce
Mitch
Harper,
Williams.
that big underdog.
Yeah, sorry, I was 8.
Yeah, what
Trey Turner too. No one saw that coming.
Yeah, no, the underdogs of one of the highest payrolls in baseball, and Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 17. Tell me again, the underdogs.
Right.
What do John Kruk, Lenny Dykstra, Mitch Williams all have in common?
Class acts.
Yeah, really.
Clean resumes.
Yes, guys, I'd like to bring as a character witness.
Well, John Kruk's a good dude.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, he's a great. John Kruk's the best.
You say so. Lenny ain't.
Wait, John
Mitch Williams, didn't he get kicked out because he was screaming at someone at a Little League game?
Wait.
He got fired from MLB
Say what you
Network.
want.
The kid deserved it.
Wait, I thought everyone loved John Kruk. But they all have mullets, by the way. And Bryson Stott.
That was the answer?
Yeah.
Oh.
They clearly, this is the same exact team. Bryson Stott could be on either team.
Okay, so Perloff, if you like mullets so much, why don't you just grow one?
Had one in college.
Well, that was a while ago.
While you're breakdancing.
Yeah.
When the Phillies inevitably win the World Series, you get a mullet.
Or
You
just
guys-
start it now.
I'm telling you, you're missing the fun.
No, we're not. We're right behind you. We're not missing
We're
anything.
living in the fun. You won't let us stay here.
Yeah.
No. But you guys
pushing
are
us.
like, you guys are pushing the wrong buttons by saying this is an excellent team. They're a 90-win team. I know exactly who they are.
That doesn't matter anymore. They are halfway to the World Series. They don't lose at home. They hit a
The same
ton of
thing
home
happened last
runs.
year. They got killed by the Astros. So why would it be any different?
Get there. It's different this year. They're more underdogs than last year.
You want to
and
know
they're
why?
more likable.
No, last
They're
year-
likable. It's
Yeah.
the likability factor.
Likability factor through the roof.
Last year, not likable at all. This
Yep.
year, 100% likable because of the certain hairstyle that they're wearing.
Yeah.
This is like science to Perloff, who attended an Ivy League
Mullet
school.
mania.
I think you look good with a mullet. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, Jean-Jacques Taylor has covered the Dallas Cowboys going back to the 90s. He covered Deion Sanders with the Cowboys. Now he's written a new book about Deion Sanders, the coach. So we'll talk to Jean-Jacques Taylor next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Right here on CBS Sports Radio. Carlos, can we update the poll question, please, about Penn State and Ohio State this Saturday? We asked you, who is feeling more pressure heading into this game? Is it Ryan Day of Ohio State? Is it James Franklin of Penn State? These teams are meeting. It's top 7 teams in the country. What do you got?
So we have a Ryan Day 60.5%, because I didn't know we do percentages now, and James Franklin 39.5%.
Okay, so Ryan Day, the public right now, Perloff, agreeing with me that Ryan Day has more pressure on him going into this game than James Franklin. First of all, the game's in Columbus. They're expected to win. They're 4.5-point favorites, so the spread's not huge, especially for a college game. This is like pretty small. But there is this idea that even though you might not have the star quarterback that you've had over the last couple years with Ryan Day, that you have to beat this team at home, because later on this season, when you go to Michigan to play that rivalry game, Ryan Day can't have even more pressure on him than has already existed.
Well, the funny thing, though, is if they lose this week to Penn State and if they beat Michigan, then it's win-win. Like, he can basically, it's all about Michigan, right? And it's even more than the Final Four. He better beat Michigan. Imagine if he loses to Michigan again this year, which he probably will, then that's real trouble, right? Isn't that how we define Ryan Day?
I think that would be short-sighted, though, because...
Oh, yeah, of course.
That'd be something where if you are a real decision maker at Ohio State, you've got to tune out that kind of noise, you know? Because here's the thing. I think that Michigan fans would probably say they're glad that the front, you know, the powers that be didn't fire Jim Harbaugh because he couldn't beat Urban Meyer, because now look what's happened where the tables have turned a little bit on the rivalry.
Absolutely.
Like, that would have looked like a panic move.
Yeah, and I think you actually brought up a good point when we were talking about James Franklin as well. Who are you going to replace him with? Like, who's better than that? I'm not sure there's an answer for Ryan Day. And the thing about James Franklin, it feels like he's not going to be Joe Paterno. He's not going to spend 30 years at Penn State, is he?
I don't know if that happens anymore.
Right. I mean, that's why it's weird.
Nick Saban has been at Alabama, feels like forever.
So say he loses here at some point, they have to break through at some point. He's been there 10 years. Doesn't seem like he just got there.
I guess so. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So that's what's going on with Penn State and Ohio State. We also have a big Thursday night game tonight.
Well, we have a Thursday night game tonight.
Because of the NFL's kind of like dominance in this country, any game, I guess, kind of counts as a big game. But
any game that you are allowed to wager on or have a fantasy player on, of course, is a big game.
We are not sure right now, listed as questionable, Trevor Lawrence with that knee issue.
Yeah, the Saints defense has been good. So we're going to run into the Derek Carr Bermuda Triangle of evaluation.
That is true. I didn't even think about the Derek Carr side of this. I've been so focused on Trevor Lawrence.
It's a sort of a joke we had. Like, he's the hardest guy to evaluate. Like, where do you place him amongst NFL quarterbacks? That's when he was with the Raiders. Now that it's the Saints, somehow it got harder. Like, is this guy any good? We still have no idea. The Saints look like a mess. They just lost to the Texans. They're still probably going to win that division.
Well, they are 3-3, right?
I mean, so is Atlanta and so is Tampa Bay.
But in terms of the defenses, I know Tampa Bay also has a good defense, even though the Lions kind of took it to them last week. But in terms of good defenses, like, that's not the problem really in the NFC South. The problem has been the offenses. Okay, let's turn our attention now. We'll get back to that Thursday night game in a moment and welcome in an award-winning journalist and someone who has covered lots of sports, but specifically for our purposes today, the Cowboys going back to the 90s, and has now written a new book about Deion Sanders. The book is called Coach Prime, Deion Sanders and the Making of Men. The author is Jean-Jacques Taylor, who's good enough to join us. Jean-Jacques, thank you for the time. How are you doing?
I'm doing great until I heard all that slander about my Buckeyes. I mean, we ain't got no pressure.
Jean-Jacques, I got a proposal for you. Okay, I'll give you one win this weekend. You get Ohio State, your alma mater. You get your Texas Rangers or whatever I think the Cowboys, their next game. Who do you, in your heart, want to win?
Dude, I'm Buckeye till I die, man. That's not even a question. It's the Buckeyes, baby.
Okay, but Jean-Jacques, you're here to talk about Deion Sanders. Let's talk about Ohio State, though, for a second. So I never understand why the fan base gets upset with Ryan Day. Yes, you've lost 2 straight to Michigan, but the guy's a great coach.
I get to see this from 2 perspectives because the Buckeyes are the only team I have an emotional investment in. So I understand it. Like the Cowboys win or lose, the Rangers win or lose. It's whatever. But the Buckeyes lose, and me and my son have to dissect the game and figure out why things went the way they went. And so I understand the passion of fans, but Buckeye fan, I'm actually a calm Buckeye fan. My boy Albert Breer is a lot worse than me.
The worst.
Because most Buckeye fans are over the top. We're spoiled because we're so used to winning. And, a 31-point win is not enough. We should have won by 45. And so I understand that Michigan has their guys on scholarship too. Occasionally they're going to win. But, my son had never experienced the Ohio State-Michigan loss until like the last couple of years. He's still not used to it.
But I bet you root really hard for Colorado now because having a Deion Buckeye, like a bowl-eligible Colorado would affect your sales, I imagine. So I bet you're living and dying a little bit with the Buffs.
Yeah, plus I like Deion. He's a good dude. And so I know a lot of those guys I've known a lot of the guys on that staff for a bunch of years before they showed up even before they showed up at Jackson State. And so I wish them a lot of success because I know what they put into it and I know who they are and what they're all about.
Jean-Jacques Taylor is joining us. The award-winning journalist has a new book. It's called Coach Prime, Deion Sanders and the Making of Men. Okay, you covered Deion going back to the 90s Cowboys. If you could just erase everything you've seen from Deion over the past couple years, would you have ever guessed that guy you covered in the 90s would have been a college football head coach on any level?
Well, let me put it like this. Maybe not college coach, but I knew he was going to be a coach. My son went to his football camp when he was about 8. And the thing I like to say about that story is Deion literally lived about, during rush hour, probably about an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour away from the football camp. He lived far north. The camp was in far south. I dropped my dude off about 7 o'clock. Deion and several guys who are actually on the Colorado staff now would be there. I talked to them for a few minutes, go about my day. When I went to pick my dude up, 6 o'clock, 6:30 at night, all those guys are still there. And I know Deion still got to drive an hour north in traffic. And so what I'm saying is I knew he was committed to coaching, especially coaching kids, when he was spending all day at camps. Because we know athletes go to camps, they put their name on it, they show up at 10 o'clock, they leave at 12 o'clock, and that's that. But he was really involved with the camp. And so I knew he'd be coaching in some way, shape, or form. I just didn't know he'd be coaching at the college level.
I think the surprising thing to me and a lot of people is there's no other Deion Sanders physically. Like when an athlete is so great, like Michael Jordan, you would think, oh, he'd be frustrated coaching because nobody has the skills that Deion Sanders has as a player. So in a way, he's kind of coaching down to a different type of kid. That's why I find this transition a little surprising because I remember him as one of the most dominant players I've ever seen.
Well, the thing about it is he really gets it. Like a lot of great players, whether it's Barry Bonds or whether it's Michael Jordan, they don't really get it. But he gets that there's nobody going to be like me. And so that's why you hear him talking all about, do you love this game? I mean, he just went off on a rant this week. He's done that before because he's like, if you really love this game and you say you want to be in the league, then how come you don't prepare like it? Like, you don't have to be me, but what's stopping you from studying tape 4 or 5 hours a day or whatever is required? What's stopping you from doing all the other things that's required to make it to the league that you say you want to do in this game that you say that you love? So you say that you love it, but I can't tell from your actions that you love it. And that's what frustrates him. But he loves to challenge. And even bigger than the game, man, is he likes working with kids. He likes shaping kids. He likes molding kids. And he likes impacting kids because, you know, you can change generations when you change a life. depending on which life you change. You can really impact generations, and he likes that.
Jean-Jacques Taylor is joining us. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the Making of Men. He likes coaching kids, clearly. He's having an impact on a young generation. But Jean-Jacques, if the NFL came calling, if Jerry Jones came calling and said, we need you to coach the Cowboys, do you think Deion would actually be able to turn that down?
Oh, heck yeah. I don't think it'd be any problem for him. He has we've talked about this several times, like more times than I can remember, just in casual conversation. I just told y'all he likes shaping young men. That's why he enjoys coaching. Why? A bunch of guys, Dave Capel, his Fort Myers youth coach, Ron Hoover, his high school coach, Mickey Andrews, his defensive coordinator at Florida State. Those all guys all impacted him and did what? Shaped and changed his life. So that's why he likes to do it. He's got no interest in the NFL. And, well, what if Jerry Jones offered him $30 million? Okay, check this out. What can $30 million buy Deion that he can't buy right now? Nothing. So money doesn't change his life. And so, he just likes working with kids. So, no, I can never see him going to the NFL. I can never see him coaching in the NFL. He doesn't like dealing with grown men at that level because he's a hard coach. He's like Nick Saban. Why didn't Nick Saban work in the NFL? Because players say, I'm a grown man. You can't tell me this or that. You can't talk to me like this. And so, that's why he'll never – he may coach high schools. He may go to another college someday. I don't know. But he'll never go to the NFL.
What about his son, Shedeur Sanders? Obviously, eventually will go to the NFL. Do you think he returns to Colorado next year?
Yeah, I think so for a couple of reasons. Number one, his dad, for right or better or worse, is the only coach he's ever had. So he enjoys playing for him. They've got a great relationship. And they like I tell my son sometimes, I think Deion feels the same way. I don't just love you because my kid, I actually like you. And, that's not always the case. And so they like hanging out. So that's number one. Number two, he's making a bunch of money. All right. So that's good. Number three, his lifestyle is great in college. And then four, I think next year they'll have a really talented team that can contend for a playoff spot, even though they're going to the Big 12. And I think he'd like to have a run with his dad where they go to the college football playoff and have a chance at winning the championship.
Jean-Jacques, we just have about a minute left here. If we can just fast forward to the current Cowboys, because we know you're covering the NFL and you have a lot of experience with that team. Again, we only have about a minute, but do you think this Cowboy team is more like the team that we saw against the Chargers that kind of gutted out this win, or do you think they're more like the team against the San Francisco 49ers, which was overmatched against better competition?
Oh, no, I think they're much more like the Chargers. They didn't play a perfect game, but they played a gritty game. They played a much better defensive game. Their problem is they're still trying to figure out who and what they are on offense. Like, there's no reason at all for Michael Gallup to ever have more targets than CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks. And so when that happens, that means your offense is out of whack, out of kilter, and you got to figure out how to fix it.
Are we going to do some kind of, if my Phillies advance to play and your Rangers advance, I'm up for any kind of bet you want to do. You want to send me some good food from Dallas?
Hit me up. We'll put it down.
All right. It's done. And I'm also a bit of a Penn State fan. Give us a prediction on Ohio State, Penn State.
I think the Buckeyes win it, but I think it's a tight fourth quarter game. I would say something the way they've been playing this year, it better be in the 27-24 range.
There we go. Jean-Jacques Taylor, you can find the book now, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the Making of Men. Jean-Jacques, thank you so much. Good luck to your Buckeyes this weekend. We'll talk again soon.
Good luck with the book, bud.
Hey, I appreciate it. Anytime, guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I am now convinced by Jean-Jacques that Deion's not going to the NFL and Shedeur's coming back to Colorado. Let's go.
I know. See, the funny thing, though, about Shedeur, right? Like, we still have a long way to go in the draft process. And you know how this process works. Some guys get really pushed up with the draft process, and Shedeur's starting from a really good place. I think he's held in very high regard with this class of quarterbacks. If it's looking like he could go top 10.
It doesn't matter. Honestly,
I don't know.
He'll make more money next year in Colorado than he will in the NFL, so why not stay? Money's not an issue.
Okay, but I'm not even just talking about the money. I'm talking about fit. You get drafted 10 somewhere between 5 and 10, you might end up going to a much better organization than whoever sucks the most the next year in the NFL just to go number 1 overall. You could be walking. You can't get too cute with these things.
He doesn't think like that. He wants to go number 1 overall, and he probably will.
So great. Have fun at the Bears. Like, you're not going to be happy there.
Oh, okay. Who's number 8? Like, have fun wherever 8 is. What is 8 going to be?
Maybe
Vegas?
you go
Raiders?
to the Rams. Maybe you go to the Raiders. Maybe you get a new coach there. I don't know.
The Raiders is any better? No. He doesn't think like that at all. Besides, it's his dad. I'll bet you anything he goes back.
Well, after Jean-Jacques just put it out there like that, it seems like he's got the inside info, of course. 855-212-4CBS. We're talking to NFL next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's a violin prodigy. Her full name is Maggie the Stallion. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the new morning show right here on CBS Sports Radio. Got a game tonight. That's the analysis. A game. Jags and Saints. It's like how we talk about players being just a guy. This is just a game, a Jag, in a different way. The big question really is about Trevor Lawrence and his status in terms of elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he is elite. Perloff says no. But Perloff, even deeper than that, because Lawrence is dealing with a knee injury right now, and it's questionable whether he's even going to play tonight, it takes a little wind out of the sails of the game because he's obviously the most interesting person on the field.
Definitely, although Jacksonville has been winning with running and defense, which is totally unexpected. I had no idea this defense was going to be so good this year. So they can definitely grind one out. The problem is New Orleans has a good defense. I love that Jag, just the game. I'm going to be watching it. It's going to be second quarter, and it's going to be 7-3. And I'm like, oh, this is such a Jag. I think that might catch on.
Yeah. I'll trademark it like Dion does.
But actually, when you think about it, the fact that Trevor Lawrence really hasn't been putting up big numbers and they've been winning, especially of late, that's probably a good sign. Like, oh, maybe this team is a little more well-rounded than we thought.
I thought with the Jags, you look at the rest of the AFC South, and there's a reason why we don't talk about that division a lot. Now, there are some fun things about it. C.J. Stroud is playing well. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson has to have season-ending shoulder surgery. The Titans are at a crossroads right now. Looks like Derrick Henry's on the trade block. They're better off just tanking for a high pick and start over at quarterback, in my opinion. But we don't talk a lot about this division because it seems like the Jags would be head and shoulders above everyone else as the playoff team from a year ago. Now, the situation with the offense, it is very different so far this year. And I think it's a slow burn for Jacksonville where they're trying some things out and trying to win in different ways because they realize they've got some leeway, a little breathing room in this division because they're the best team in the division.
I'm not sure the NFL works like that, where they kind of hold plays back. Because would they have tried all out against Kansas City in sort of a defining game?
I guess I'm saying no defining game happens in week 2 of your season, I don't think. But the other thing is, I think it's trying to find your identity and who you're going to be and what you're going to be about. Sometimes takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, if their quarterback can't run, then this is just a completely different team. Yeah. You have to wonder, a knee sprain,
Not
a quarterback injury is knee. It's one thing if Patrick Mahomes can limp around and win games, but this is definitely not great. And I'm curious if we do see him tonight, what's it going to look like? I feel like we could see him tonight. He's going to look worse than we expected, and we're all going to downgrade the Jags because of that. Might not be fair, but that's a reality. This is a league of attrition. Like, health is everything.
Can we play cut 3, please, Pete? This is Trevor Lawrence, not thrilled about the idea of sitting tonight.
Definitely position I don't want to be in. I haven't missed a game in my career. Obviously I'm only in my 3rd year, but I take a lot of pride in that and being available and being there and being able to play and compete every week. I think that's something that I take a lot of pride in.
There you go.
That was very sunshine. That was embodying sunshine right there with that from Remember the Titans, obviously.
Can we update the poll question? Is Trevor Lawrence an elite quarterback? We haven't had the are they elite conversation in far too long.
Well, since Eli's retired and Joe Flacco is sort of floating around, who are we going to argue about the eliteness of?
Yeah, well, you can't spell Eli without elite, and Joe Flacco elite. I mean, we're talking, that's 10 years ago now. We need somebody else to take the mantle of are they elite?
But those actually were old guys that were debating elite. This is a young guy. Anyway, what's the result?
All right, so 38.9% said, yeah, for sure, Trevor Lawrence is elite. And 61.1% says, nah, he's just a dude. So, Jad, just a dude.
Yeah.
Just a dude.
We have just a game and just a dude now.
I don't think just a dude is not the opposite of elite. You could be very good. You could be a Pro Bowl quarterback and not elite, right? Like, how many are elite?
I think top 5. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a top 5
I think you might only have 3 elite. You might have Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen.
But Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence's numbers are very similar through
this year,
through where Trevor Lawrence is in his career to where Josh Allen was at that point in his career.
Yeah, but where they are now, I'm saying who's the elite quarterback now? I feel like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I guess you could say Tua because of his numbers, but doesn't it feel like those guys are elite? As you're defining elite, like really could just put the team on their shoulders. That's what I define as elite.
Yeah.
So the other guys are a bit system-y, and Trevor Lawrence is a bit developing. Why are his numbers down this year if he's so elite?
I think that it's because they're running the ball. I think they're just finding themselves in the defense is very good. And, on third down, he's awesome. Like he's finding Calvin Ridley. I think that he has shown that he's a great quarterback. And I think he showed you last year, even though he threw a couple picks that got them in the hole against the Chargers, to be able to come back in that game, that's something that an elite quarterback does. That was so impressive to me. And to keep it a 1-score game against the Chiefs the next week in Arrowhead, which is one of the toughest places to play, I was impressed by that. All of this adds up to Trevor Lawrence is elite. Okay, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Play a little game because now you got a lot of teams, Perloff, who are 3-3, right? Sitting at 500. But will they make the playoffs is the big question, because start off 3-3, your season can kind of go anyway. So Carlos is going to give us a team. We'll tell you whether or not they're going to make the playoffs.
All right, so we'll actually start with tonight's game since they're one of the teams that's going to be playing it. The New Orleans Saints sitting in the NFC South at 3-3.
Yeah.
Can I go first on this one?
You sure can.
Pencil them into the playoffs, and this is purely a function of look around that division. Oh, my God. This is like the AFC South of the NFC. It's not going to be Atlanta. This is not happening. It's definitely not going to be Tampa Bay. And Carolina might not win a game. Oh, my gosh. They're being gifted this division because of their defense.
Okay. I am also going to say yes in the playoffs. We're going to agree on this one. Not just the defense, because Tampa has a good defense, too. Falcons' defense is terrible, but this is the best one of the bunch, in my opinion. And also, if Derek Carr does go down, you don't think Jameis Winston can get this team to the playoffs? A little Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill combo?
Honestly, I can't wait to see Taysom Hill tonight. Taysom Hill's probably the best quarterback on that team right now. Jameis looked bad when he came in the last time. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's the defense. Honestly, like we think of the Saints and Drew Brees, it's Cam Jordan in the defense. But it's really more, to be totally honest, I don't think they're a good team. I think it's a function of this division. Really down. Atlanta, who's the best shot? If we had to pick a second one, is it?
That's not the game. The game
I feel
is
like
3-3 teams, and are they making the playoffs?
I just feel like if they can hold off Atlanta, the Saints are definitely making the playoffs. That's the only threat.
Who's the next team?
All right, well, fresh off of beating your Eagles, E-L-G-L-E-S, if you know, you know,
Yep.
We got the New York Jets sitting there at 3-3. Make the playoffs, yay or nay?
I'll take this one. That's going to be a big time no. And everybody, listen, Jets are a good team. Let me walk that back. Jets are a really good defense. And if we think that defenses can lead the way here like they can with the Saints, the problem is the AFC East is much better than the NFC South. So at some point, your quarterback's going to have to win you a game, and I don't think that's going to happen. And furthermore, Perloff, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back. They're floating this out there and kind of keeping and dangling this carrot. Call me a hater. Use this as the bulletin board material for Rodgers. I'm sorry, I don't see him coming back this year.
I don't even think this team belongs on there. I mean, they're 3-3. These are the 3 narrowest wins. I know they did beat Denver, I think by 10 points, but that was because of the fumble 6 by Russell Wilson at the end of the game. I mean, come on. Super lucky to beat the Bills. I don't know how they beat the Eagles. They were losing the entire game, and basically Jalen Hurts threw one against the grain that was picked. They shouldn't really be 3-3. I'm also a bit of a Jets fan. I love Joe Douglas, their GM, but this is going to be really hard to do. I say a definite no.
Carlos, who's next, dude?
All right, so let's stay in the AFC, but let's go south. The surprisingly 3-3 Houston Texans.
the Houston Texans.
Is that just a random drop? I love it.
We have
Man,
all the teams.
if I wasn't so staunchly on the Jacksonville Jags bandwagon, I want to say yes so bad to this one. I'm very impressed by what's going on in Houston so far, not just with CJ Stroud, but with the defense as well, and DeMeco Ryan. And this schedule, though, this is not easy. So they're on their bye this week, and they come out with Carolina. So there you go. But then Tampa, at Cincinnati, Arizona, Jacksonville, Denver. I mean, you got a little mixed bag here. Is it totally impossible? I'm going to say no, just because I think the Jags are going to win this division, and that's the only team in the division making the playoffs from the AFC South.
Although there is a chance because the AFC North beats itself up. The AFC East now really only has 2 teams because they have the Bills. So there is a chance a second one sneaks in here because they have that last place schedule. I kind of taking the same tone you are. It's a no. Impressed with them. They could 9-8 might get you into the AFC because of the parity in the AFC. I'm still going no, but this last place schedule really helps Carolina. If they're 4-3, if they beat Carolina as we expect them to, even though it's in Carolina, Bryce Young's playing a little better. Yeah, that'll be a great story this year.
Talk about the pressure on that game, by the way. It's not till October 29th. It's in 2 weeks. But
2 weeks, yep.
If you're the Panthers, this is the time to pull out a win.
Yeah.
Bryce Young 1, CJ Stroud 2.
As a Giants fan, I am rooting on the Panthers so hard.
Yeah, just loss after loss. Yeah.
Well, let's pardon all the puns here, but rolling the dice with this team right here, playing in the desert. Our very own Stu's favorite team.
Las Vegas Raiders.
I don't know how anybody loses to the Raiders. Now, the one thing about the Raiders is just like poorly coached. The talent is like they've got some extremely talented pieces, but there's no depth. You hear Devontae Adams now, Perloff. I predicted that he was going to ask for a trade the Monday night game against the Packers. That was not true, but you're hearing some whispers now. Hey, this isn't what I came here for. I want to win. Blah blah blah. Their schedule's super easy, but I do not see the Raiders as a playoff team. There's no way their quarterback situation is going to hold up, and Josh McDaniels, I wouldn't trust to game plan my kid's lunch, let alone game plan in the NFL.
I got the Raiders to 8 wins without having any upsets. Tell me who they are going to be on this list. Chicago this week against Tyson Bagent, most likely. Then you got both New York teams. The Jets game's a toss-up. They're going to, they're both in Vegas. They get both New York teams on the road. That's 3. They get Minnesota in Vegas. That's 4. Then they get, at the end of the season, the Colts with Gardner Minshew and Denver. Ooh, that's at 9 wins, Maggie. I'm going to say yes. The 9-8 Raiders tied with the Houston Texans. I'm going to go into my crystal ball here for the conference record. The Raiders have a better conference record.
Wow.
I love those segments. I think the Raiders pull off a miracle. They better win this weekend against Bagent. But I think the Raiders pull off a miracle, shock everybody like they did a couple years ago when they beat the Chargers in Week 17. I say the Raiders make the playoffs. Or they go 4-12. No. I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders to shock everybody here. I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know if their coach comes back next year. I don't know what their owner's all about. They have such an easy schedule. They're going to trip into the playoffs.
Wasn't that the game where the Raiders and the Chargers, they would have just tied, they both would have got into the playoffs?
Yes. And it looked like there was kind of an sort of unspoken agreement between the two head coaches until Brandon Staley called a timeout. And Rich Bisaccia was like, well, now I've got to kick a field goal and beat you.
Analytics.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a trip to the emergency room in the NFL with less description or fanfare than Jimmy G? Jimmy G goes to the ER with a bad back in the middle of a football game?
Well,
that's like my dad. We're watching a football game and complaining about his back.
Usually if you're going to the hospital with a bad back, you're on a stretcher.
Right, but
tied to a board.
And he's not that quiet. Like, he might even start playing again soon. That's what's so bizarre about this situation. It's just an odd team. I do love Max Crosby.
Yes, we all do.
You watch him, and he just, like you said, they're great players on that team. And Devontae Adams is now complaining to get the ball more. They could trip into some wins here. It's bizarre.
Here's what's funny. I love that the Raiders could actually start this as their injury report is just like Jimmy Garoppolo. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. They can use the tagline for the city.
Are you saying
to circumvent the injury report? It's like, why is he in the hospital with a back injury? It's like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
So you're implying that wasn't a football related injury?
I'm just saying.
Because I can picture Jimmy G like Fredo in a hotel room in Vegas with multiple friends here. Yeah.
All right,
that was a deep cut.
Well, you're the one you were implying that Jimmy G hurt his back in lovemaking. Isn't that what you were saying?
I thought it was funny. Right.
Just slap on some icy hot. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's drive up to the AFC North where teammates like to dress each other.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, they're losing the Super Bowl to my Eagles. Let's go. Bet against Joe Burrow at your own risk. He is looking so good, at least mobility-wise. Playing-wise, yeah, it's not quite there yet. Luann and Marumo just love the defense in a clutch spot. I got the Bengals in.
Yeah. I know you bet against the Bengals. It's an F around and find out situation, but I am betting against the Bengals. I'm breaking one of our show commandments. I do not think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. They're going into their bye week this week, but the idea that they turned the corner because the defense was good against the Seattle Seahawks, which is what I read a lot coming out of Cincinnati this week. I don't think that's true. I think that the defense was good, yes, but I thought Geno Smith ended up playing very poorly in the red zone in that game and kind of gifted him one. They come out of the bye at San Francisco. Perloff, who plays San Francisco and lives to tell about it? That's going to be a physical game for Joe Burrow. Then Buffalo, Houston, at Baltimore, Pittsburgh, at Jacksonville. They're later in the season at Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, and then at Cleveland. Against Cleveland to finish up the year.
I mean,
the schedule's unforgiving, and with Joe Burrow, yeah, he looks good now, but can you assure me the calf injury isn't going to pop up again?
I mean, he's got a bye week. T. Higgins is going to come back. Yeah, that's a tough schedule. That doesn't make me feel great. I'm not going to lie. But if they can't beat the Browns once in the season and they can't beat this Pittsburgh Steelers team, then we're not talking about anything here. Now, listen, San Francisco is great. I'm telling you, Joe Burrow gets up for games like that. They'll beat some of these good teams, even if they aren't great overall.
What do you think is the spread right now? Cincinnati, at San Francisco.
I would say San Francisco -5.
6. Almost a touchdown. I don't know. I'm not seeing it this year for the Bengals. And the defense is good, but I'm worried about Burrow. He hasn't looked like himself. Still got a long way to go.
Is there any team that would be a less of a spread at San Francisco? I mean, I think bring any team into San Francisco and you're talking multiple points. I mean, who? Maybe Kansas City?
It wouldn't be 6.
It would be 6, but they'd at least be 3.
Well, 3 is not 6.
And also,
3
Kansas
is basically home field advantage. 6 is we're beating you.
Yeah, and that's Kansas City. That's the defending champion. I'm just saying, there aren't many teams that are going in there with many. The Eagles will probably be 5 or 6 underdogs. I think San Francisco is a tough assignment, but that's 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. Bengals are on their bye.
Are the Niners on a bye too?
Are the Niners on a bye this week? I didn't think so. The Niners. What's today?
Vamp.
They play. They play Monday night at Minnesota.
Right, Minnesota. Yeah, that's why we haven't focused on that.
A Kirk Cousins primetime game. Yippee!
Well, at least okay. At least the Bengals get the Niners on a short week coming off that brutal matchup against the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm sure. 855, it's going to be tough for them. 855-212, favored by 10 points. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, a lot more to do, including, again, this was something that came across our desk that we all did a double take. Some of us even did a spit take. We'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we're back here on the Maggie and Perloff Show. We're at the point in the NFL season, Maggie, where the injury report seems like 50% of the storylines in the NFL. Wow. I just read bad news. David Montgomery out for the Lions against the Ravens. So that great showdown is messed up. Tonight's Trevor Lawrence wearing a knee brace or not playing at all. That's messed up. But there's good news I have for you as an Eagles fan that you are, Maggie.
Yeah, sure.
Lane Johnson, I talked to my buddy, Dr. Rock Positano, foremost foot and ankle doctor in America. He said that Lane Johnson's lateral ankle sprain heals very quickly, and I should not worry about that.
Good. I'm sure America couldn't wait to hear about what the right tackle for the Eagles was going through.
Right tackle, first of all, if you're going to have non-quarterback MVP candidates, there are 3. Tyreek Hill,
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey, and Lane Johnson.
I don't think he fits in that category.
Oh, he sure does. And when we do our picks tomorrow, you will hear I am definitely picking against the Eagles because if Lane Johnson is not out there, they are a sub-500 team. And that's facts.
You know, in some years, you probably could have said Devontae Adams could have been a non-quarterback MVP candidate because of how talented he is. And it looks like now, he had some interesting quotes basically saying, I didn't come to Vegas to hang out. I'm here because I want to win. We know originally he went there because Derek Carr, his best friend from college, was the quarterback of the team. But Adams not only wants more targets, he had 9 against, he had 5 against New England and 4 against Green Bay. Was dealing with a little bit of an injury, though. But Aaron Rodgers, by the way, his former teammate in Green Bay, fanned the flames on this. He was on Pat McAfee saying, you just got to keep throwing it to Devontae Adams, keep throwing to Devontae. And I think Devontae heard that and was like, yeah, why aren't they throwing it to me more and more?
But I don't get this at all.
You might get a little frustration here from the wide receiver.
He was listed yesterday as limited in practice with a shoulder injury. So that's number one. Who's throwing him the passes?
Yeah. Well, Brian Hoyer with no Jimmy Garoppolo.
Is that for sure? Did they name Hoyer the starter?
Well, I don't know. Hoyer started the game against New England, but maybe that was because Hoyer's familiar with New England. Who knows? But it ended up working. They ended up beating the Patriots, but everyone beats the Patriots these days, right?
Yeah, so I had read a couple weeks ago, right, that Devontae Adams and Aiden O'Connell had this special connection. So I don't even know what's happening here. I thought it was the injuries, and then he got that hit last week. That was last week, right? So I don't know. Maybe you'll get what you wish for. I feel like Devontae Adams is a pretty big target unless he has a good quarterback throwing him the ball. But I just did pick the Raiders to go to the playoffs, so I'm down. Let's throw it to Devontae.
We are just a couple weeks away from the trade deadline. That's after week 8. We're going into week 7. So if you are going to try to ramp up a little trade me energy, now would be the time to do it.
Jimmy G actually started the game.
Yep.
Hoyer came in. I think they think that Hoyer is maybe a better mid-game guy. I would think the thinking, and they're going to go to Aiden O'Connell, who I love. You're not a fan of the mustache.
Him personally, I have no thought on.
Yeah.
The mustache is a massive mistake, but we've talked about that.
I feel like this guy's based on three preseason quarters is going to be a really good quarterback. I love backup quarterbacks.
It's your thing.
This is my new guy. I'm hoping that if Jimmy G can't go, I'm hoping that Aiden O'Connell gets in there. It's not hard to throw to Devontae Adams. I'm going all Raiders right here.
Andrew Bogish is here with some headlines. Good morning, folks.
Good morning again, guys. So after 51 road wins during the regular season, the Astros might have been exactly where they wanted to be last night, facing that 0-2 hole in the ALCS on the road.
Swing and a shot to right field, base hit. Dubon comes up big time. Another single drives in another run. It's 5-0. Dubon is coming up big.
Robert Ford on Astros radio. That's the
gaga.
End of the damage done to Max Scherzer. 5 runs on 5 hits, over 4 in his first start in 5 weeks thanks to that shoulder issue. Houston did let the Rangers back into the game, but won 8-5. So now they're down 2-1 in the series. They're also 7-1 this year at Globe Life Field. Jose Altuve does not have an explanation.
I don't really have an answer for that right now, but what I can tell you is it's a big win for us. Keep us in the game, and just tomorrow's another day.
Altuve speaking post-game on FS1. He took Scherzer deep in this one. Lefty Andrew Heaney starts Game 4 for Texas, 7 Central tonight. The Diamondbacks host Game 3 of the NLCS at 5 Eastern, which I think is 2 local time. Greg Popovich had a scheduling conflict last night. He had to coach the Spurs in their preseason game against the Rockets, but he wanted to watch former assistant Becky Hammon try to lead the Aces to the WNBA title.
I thought about getting booted tonight because it was exactly the same time, but I just thought this has to be my priority. But it was close.
So he watched Victor Wembanyama score 15 points in 21 minutes in a 117-103 win, then celebrated Vegas' title.
Becky Hammon. And the Aces. It's like Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. It's Becky and the Aces. fantastic.
Becky and the Aces with their second title in a row after taking Game 4 in Brooklyn 70-69 over the Liberty. The Sparks in 01 and 02, the last team to go back-to-back.
Wait a minute. I think that Popovich, like, there's always a little truth in every joke. Like getting kicked out because you had something else to do.
Yeah, on the table.
Make you wonder about Pop's priorities?
Yeah, I'm like, did he also have like a wine tasting event that he wanted to go to at some point? Just get kicked out of a game against OKC or something?
The Aces had a lot of fun after winning last night, including in Asia Wilson's post-game press conference.
It's not easy, as you know. It's not easy. Not a lot of. Yeah, we just can't. Yeah. Wait, y'all, I'm being serious.
So at some point, the entire team was in the room, and they were applauding her answers as they went through. Wilson had 24 points and 16 boards to win Finals MVP. Back to that NBA preseason action from last night, the Warriors won a bizarro thriller with the Kings, 116-115 on a Steph Curry three with 5 seconds left. Curry scoring 30. Jordan Poole had 41 in the Wizards' 131-106 win at the Knicks.
Yeah, why are they trying this hard at a preseason
I don't
game?
understand it. I mean, because the last-ish one, so maybe they're trying to play full minutes once before the regular season? I don't know.
This is giving me strong. Do you remember when Rex Ryan was the head coach of the Jets and for some reason really wanted to beat the Giants in preseason in the Snoopy Bowl and put Mark Sanchez, the starter at the time, back in the game in the second half for no reason whatsoever, and Sanchez got hurt and like missed most of the season, I thought.
Yeah, but Curry out there at the end, Poole dropping 40. It
Jordan
makes no
Poole,
sense.
Killer mustache, by the way. I don't know if you guys seen him in the Wizards. It is a sick duster right
Look
there.
at her. She's the mustache
I feel
expert.
like Jordan Poole is growing a mustache because he wants to be unrecognizable to people. That's why. He doesn't want to get stopped. He's going incognito.
He's on the right team then.
Ain't that the truth?
Giants QB Daniel Jones cleared to throw at practice yesterday, but not for contact yet as that neck issue heals. And Kyler Murray was back at Cardinals practice yesterday, roughly 10 months removed from that torn ACL. Arizona now has 21 days to add their QB to the active roster. And on ice last night, Ottawa downed Washington 6-1. That's a 3-game win streak. The Red Wings outscored the Penguins 6-3. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, Kyler Murray starting a game for Arizona down at any point in this season, I think, is a massive mistake. Like, you've made your bed here. Your last GM messed this up, and I'm sure ownership was involved too, but you can't get rid of them. And you should have never given him that big contract extension, but now you messed up. And now you've got to try to start over again with a rookie quarterback, and you're in position. You're right there.
Yeah, but you got to get number one. That's not as easy as you think. I mean, listen, the Jets tried desperately, and they screwed it up. The Texans tried badly, and they screwed up. It turned out they might have lucked into the better quarterback.
Yeah, that's
but you
what I'm
can't
saying.
if they get number two, I mean, honestly, like Drake May or whoever,
Okay.
it might be number three. I don't know that that's such an upgrade over Kyler Murray.
Okay, but what have we seen from Kyler Murray? He won Rookie of the Year, so I'm not saying he hasn't
I'm
done
not a
anything.
Kyler Murray guy, but.
Okay, right. Nobody is.
But,
And-
you know, I mean, number two picks are generally like that's a slot where you pick a complete failure.
Well, it looks like the Cardinals may have messed up with the number one pick with Kyler. I mean,
They definitely did.
right. Okay, so what are you doing? This is what they call like throwing good money after bad. Like, what do you already made the mistake. So why are you continuing to double down? If here's the best case scenario for the Cardinals. You do not play Kyler Murray and you make an attractive trade package to a team that also liked him coming out of the draft. You find somebody to take Murray, even if you have to take some short-term pain.
Well, you obviously, though, you think Kyler Murray's good enough to win games, so you do put some quality on Kyler Murray.
Yeah, but not for my team anymore because I'm within striking distance of the number one overall pick, and I've got an opportunity to reset this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Josh Dobbs is clearly going to win some games, too. They've just played really good teams.
Yeah, their problem is it's too early in the season. You can't, if he's ready in the next 2 weeks, you can't justify him not playing. And there's actually worse teams than them. So getting that number one spot is really difficult.
But we haven't even gotten to the trade deadline yet. You could trade Budda Baker. You can trade a couple guys who
I
you
guess,
can make
but
this team
Baker's been
worse.
out since week one, and they've actually
And
they
he's
still looked
expensive as
okay.
all get out, too. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is one of those where in the short term, it seems like a good idea, and you're just going to be kicking yourself next year. That's what I think for Arizona. but it would not shock me that they would make the wrong decision. They should follow my lead.
If they didn't have Denver and the Patriots and the Bears and maybe the Giants, the road to number one is, even though they only have one win, it's a hard road to get there. And there's no way to justify not playing Kyler.
Oh, the homework clause was the justification.
Well, I think that also, too, it's easy for us to sit here and look at what's best for the team, but the ownership and everyone there, they have to kind of compete, sell tickets. Like, it's harder to take. The coach does not want 2-15 on his record at all.
Okay, but does the coach also want to stick around in the NFL? Because he just watched Kyler Murray may have cost Cliff Kingsbury his job. Are you sure you can win with Kyler and you're going to be out of the job anyway? The best thing for a new coach and new general manager, which is exactly what happened in Arizona, is you get to start over with your guy. That immediately buys you more years. If we're trying to just play Survivor here, you always got to go with the new and the young guy.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even Jonathan Gannon. I'm not sure he has any thoughts on that quarterback. He's like, pew pew pew. We're going to score some points. He just doesn't seem like, you think Jonathan Gannon is Mr. Evil Dementor plan here. I feel like he's just happy to be a head coach.
Well, probably, but the general manager has to be.
Monty Ossoff. I think there's pressure on all these guys. Like, it's easy to say tank, but it has to be a special situation to tank. I think Bogus is right. It's too early in the season. If you could get him back next week, you could win 6 games this year.
Great. Mediocrity.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Where every team aspires to be.
Well, I'm not saying that they shouldn't get rid of Kyler. I just don't think this is the path to doing that, because keeping him off the field is just going to look almost best case for him to play.
Yeah.
Look crappy. Legs not great.
Yeah.
You take him off the field, and then you suck for the last 8 weeks.
I know, but then you can't trade him.
The other thing,
I'd rather have the mystery of him.
The other thing people are going to trade for him if he sits all year and it costs $50 million next year.
Well, you have to attach some things to it.
But I think he still eat up your cap. Hey, let me ask you a question. How many teams do you have tanking, Maggie?
Like 5 or 6.
Yeah, that can't be. Like, you need 2 teams tanking, like, for it to actually. That means 5 or 6. 5 teams don't have a prayer.
That was back of the envelope math.
Yeah.
I think the Bears, although they get a little help because they have that Carolina pick, so they don't have to tank so much. But I think the Bears want a new quarterback. I think that the Titans should start tanking. Maybe this is who should start tanking.
Yeah.
I don't know who will. Titans, Bears. If I'm the Vikings,
for sure,
I like that move. I mean, you could probably talk me into the Commanders.
What about the Patriots?
Commanders are 3-3.
And the Giants.
And don't forget the Broncos for sure. And my point is, you have about 11 teams who want Caleb Williams. It's going to be very, very hard to tank here. And I think even worse than being 6-11 is trying to tank and end up winning 3 games and getting the number 3 pick.
Well, you can't be afraid to try. You got to be a risk taker.
I mean, look, the Jets ended up with Zach Wilson in that scenario. I've seen it. A failed tank is a terrible thing for a fan base.
Right now, they would be 4th if the draft was tomorrow. But Chicago would have the first 2 picks, and they're not going to take quarterbacks with both of those. So you could probably trade
They
up.
might.
Maybe they should. This has got to be a volume.
They figured they'll hit on one.
Yeah, just volume game here.
You have the Commanders and the Vikings as tank teams. I feel like the Vikings
definitely are.
I'm talking about should.
Yeah, the Vikings should. I don't think the Commanders will.
When are we getting Justin Jefferson back? Because I feel like the Vikings in that division could challenge for the playoffs.
No, they're not catching the Lions, and they're not going to be a wild card team.
Yeah, but
they're cooked.
They're 2-4 now, and they got so many easy games on their schedule.
They're just not good, though.
Yeah, but they were 13-4, and they weren't good last year.
Do you think they're beating the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football?
No, but then they got the Packers, the Falcons, the Saints in Minnesota, the Broncos, and the Bears. I mean, that could that's easy, a 4-1 stretch for my man Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Not without Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, how are you going to lose that game? How are you going to lose all those games if you're tanking?
Oh.
You could play your third string quarterback. How are you going to lose
those
to the
first batch of games are 50-50 games. The last 2, the Bears and Broncos you mentioned, those are tough ones to give away. But the ones before that, you could just lose.
It's going to be tough. I
disagree. It's going to be easy for them.
I mean, Tyson Badgin's coming into town. They're tanking too. It's like a tank off. It's a tank off, people.
Pick your sides. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, thank you, Andrew Bogish, for all of those headlines. Coming up, okay, we do have the story. Made us do a double take, spit takes, all that stuff. We couldn't believe it when we saw it. We'll tell you about it next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff, just reading this, the latest on Travis Kelce. Apparently he had to buy a new very, very expensive home now in Kansas City, a $6 million mansion because he needs more privacy now that he's dating Taylor Swift.
Wow, what's the most expensive home in Kansas City?
I don't know. You got Zillow?
I bet you it's around 9 or 10. $6 million would not get you a huge mansion in New York City.
Well, I mean, but the rest of the country it would. $6 million is a lot for a house. So $6 million to keep up with the privacy needs of Taylor Swift. Man, they're really taking this ruse all the way, huh?
$10.9 million. The most expensive house in Kansas, $10.9 million.
What about, is it Mahomes's? Well, Missouri, not Kansas.
In Missouri.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. I looked up Kansas. My bad. I did Kansas, most expensive house in Kansas City, and they gave me one in Kansas. Although Kansas City also in Kansas.
The other one. Okay, so this is the story that made us all do a little bit of a double take here, which was there was a study, and we all just couldn't understand what this was about. It was a study that said that lovemaking is more pleasurable if you've just eaten. We're like, huh. That doesn't really seem to square. I mean, Carlos, I think you texted me and said something like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, almost immediately. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Like, I figured you would work up the appetite and then eat.
Right. So I did a little bit more, fair. I did a little bit more digging on this story. And of course, it's like a study that comes from like Norway. And I just don't think they eat like we eat, you know? I just think they're probably eating small meals. Like, they're not doing what we're doing as Americans.
Eating garbage plates.
Oh, yeah, which is Rochester's famous garbage plates, which now Perloff and I have a bet later on this season when the Bills play the Eagles, who eats the garbage plate with no hands. But yes, so it was basically people who were starved, like fasted, and then someone touched their leg versus somebody who ate and then they touched their leg. I'm like, I don't know. I'm still with what our original thought was. Nobody wants to have a huge meal and then all of a sudden bow chicka bow wow.
Yeah, imagine eating a bowl of Skyline chili with no hands, and I'm like, honey, like, that's a bad
idea. Yeah. Chili especially.
Yeah, what's the opposite of an aphrodisiac? I think a whole pizza is, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you undo your belt buckle. It's
but
like,
not for
not for amorous reasons, but to release the pressure on your waist from your pants.
So actually, this one doctor in the study did say you should wait at least 60 minutes after a big meal before you.
Oh, to avoid cramping?
It was like that and swimming.
Well, the swimming thing got debunked. Apparently, that was not true the whole time.
Wait, what?
60 minutes after a meal before you jump in the sheets. Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, let's not get into any details here. Yeah. But before you obviously wouldn't eat a big meal before you exercise, right?
Right. Yes.
Like you
cramps,
can.
Right.
Yeah, you can't go running after you. This is all bizarre.
Also, you just don't want things sloshing around in your stomach, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Milk products.
This whole segment's a turnoff. We have to...
Apparently, the turnoff is being hungry for sex.
Although there's the George Costanza intermixing food and lovemaking.
Like uncured meats.
Yeah, wasn't he always obsessed with getting food into the act?
Yeah, but it was like a hoagie, not like strawberries or something.
Yeah. By the way, like then there's like
under the pillow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I don't know if these like like those sort of romantic movies on cable growing up.
Yeah, 9.5 weeks.
Oh, yeah, like they're always like dipping strawberries in chocolate and there's like weird foods involved. Yeah. And it turns out to be the most unerotic scenes you've ever seen in your life. Like,
I don't know. There's a lot of crumbs in the bed. It's like, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, like you're dipping something, whatever.
All right, let's get to our shot of the day.
Oh, that was a strawberry in 9.5 weeks, right? That was a famous scene. And the lemons in Atlantic City with Susan Sarandon. That's a good scene. Anyway.
He shoots!
That now just took on a little bit of a different thought. Shoots and scores. Shot of the Day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. So today's Shot of the Day, we were talking about Raptors basketball coach, whose name I have forgotten already, graduated from like the Belgrade Basketball University. So how could we adapt that here in the States? I think if you play football at Ohio State, Michigan, wherever you play, You should be able to major in football.
Yeah, I mean,
Why not?
because it's kind of supposed to be an academic institution. I mean, quote unquote.
Perloff. Come on.
I think athletes learning about sedimentary rocks is actually very comical to me.
Yeah, it's like, here's where the river delta comes through. Like, that doesn't do anything for anybody. Yeah, rocks for jocks. Also, like, the other parts that go along, not just like major in basketball, but then also get like a finance, how to manage your finances.
I always hear that. There's no class that can teach you that.
Hide it under the bed.
There's
Start
no
there.
class that deals, okay, when the 37 people closest to you in life are asking for money, how do you say no? There's no class for that.
I disagree. I think there could be a class for that.
Oh, my God.
And it could be taught by like MC Hammer or something. Someone who famously went broke.
Yeah, right. Like, just like those lecturers at the NFL locker room mean a single thing just because a former player comes up and says something. Do you think NFL players ever follow that advice?
Okay, but aren't there are college coaches who teach classes on campus, right? There are some coaches who actually teach classes. Yeah, I think so. I think they like doing it.
What has Nick Saban got, the public speaking class?
No, it's not, yeah, right. Wait a minute. I'm not making this up. There is a college football coach who does teach a class somewhere. I'm like 90% sure. So, Carlos, please Google, save me. They could incorporate it into their classes.
Is Tom Osborne a professor? Somebody like that.
Something like that, right. So
Some Midwestern coach, yeah.
Yeah, instead of teaching, like motivational tactics or whatever they're teaching, teach a little how to survive in this world.
So I see former coaches, Mike Leach, Herm Edwards, Lovie Smith, all had courses in addition to coaching.
Yeah, right. And I think Mike Leach was while he was coaching. It was, may he rest in peace now, but it was at the same time. I think it was about World War II history or something random, though.
Yeah, I don't know about Herm. His number one lesson, you play to win the game.
It's like right
you
there
taking
on the
notes on
platter.
that?
Been waiting for that one, Perloff. Really teed you up there. Okay, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's get some predictions for tonight's game because we need a reason to watch this Jaguars-Saints game beyond just football.
Okay, I told you I jumped on the Jags +1 in New Orleans because I thought Trevor Lawrence was going to play, but now Adam Schefter is reporting it's a game-time decision, and I might cash out on that bet. Because is this a total cop-out? I like New Orleans if it's C.J. Beathard. I like Jacksonville rather easy if it's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. What about the rushing yards here? You got Alvin Kamara 50.5. You got Travis Etienne 64.5.
Over. Kamara has been so disappointed. Did you guys see that game where he had 9 catches for 22 yards? How unexplosive has he been lately? As a former Alvin Kamara fantasy football owner, I'm not a big fan of the way he's playing this year, but Etienne is a young Alvin Kamara. He is so explosive. How about you, Maggie? Would you lean on that?
I'm actually in the under for Etienne.
Yeah.
Just because no matter if it's Lawrence who's banged up or whether it's C.J. Beathard, I mean, the Saints kind of got the game plan, right?
Right, but maybe...
They'd be expecting that Etienne is going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah, but countering, he will run the ball a lot, so he's going to have some chances tonight.
Yeah, I think that's probably might be end up
That's
being
another
the key
guy,
to the
by
game.
the way.
Yeah.
The Jags might want to put in a little bubble wrap. You were saying that maybe they're waiting. I worry about his durability because he's so explosive. Anyway, what's next?
Also got some receiving yard props for you as well. For that, I kind of like the Kamara over with 31.5. But you're right, he has been disappointing. And then Chris Olave, 62.5.
Yeah, and I think they've been talking about getting into Olave more. I want to go. I love Chris Olave, so I want to go over just to root that way. By the way, yes. Taysom Hill, mark it down tonight.
Touchdown?
Big play. Taysom Hill, game-changing play in the second half. Going to happen, Maggie.
Wait, what about just an anytime touchdown if you like him that much?
I will do that. Do you got some odds for me on anytime touchdown for Taysom Hill?
No, I don't. I got to look it up. While Carlos updates our polls here, a couple poll questions that we had for you today.
All right, so we have who's under more pressure to win on Saturday. 61% say Ryan Day and 38% for James Franklin, as well as the other poll, is Trevor Lawrence elite? 38% says yes, and 61% say no.
I put out a poll, too. Most likable team left in the MLB playoffs, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Astros, or Rangers. 44.1%. Phillies next closest. Diamondbacks at 26%. So there you go.
And no, you cannot trust anything that Perloff puts out on his own timeline.
Why is that?
Because it's all Philly people who follow you.
It is absolutely not a Philly. First of all, I think it's more like who likes the Diamondback, Astros, or Rangers? How many fans are out there for them? So I think the Phillies won that.
Taysom Hill anytime touchdown plus 260. That's what you can get at FanDuel.
Book it.
Thank you to Carlos Ortiz. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Andrew Bogush. Thank you to Andrew Kaplan, Guidos, coffee drinkers, callers. You guys are the best. And Jean-Jacques Taylor, who joined us. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow with our celebrity NFL picker.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.